Chapter 173, Returning to the Martial Academy, Unrivaled Attitude _2, This little guy's strength seems to have improved again. He muttered inwardly, taking the jade bottle without opening it and directly speaking to everyone. Alchemist Lu Yun has passed the assessment and is hereby promoted to 3rd grade alchemist. There shouldn't be any objections, right? Isn't that obvious? If a 100% success rate in pill refinement and a terrifying 40% rate of top-quality pills can't pass the assessment, then there are hardly any qualified 3rd grade alchemists in the Alchemist Alliance. B0XO. Calm after saying that, Deng He went straight to Lu Yun's side, slapped his shoulder forcefully, and laughed loudly. Kid Lu Yun, you're our hope to bring glory to the Spirit Martial Prefecture branch in this year's Alchemy Conference. I'll give it my best. Lu Yun's eyes were shining, exuding a brilliant shine of confidence. He was determined to win the Fire Seed, which was the reward for being the champion of the 3rd grade alchemist. It was the key to becoming a 4th-rank alchemist. Soon after completing all the procedures, someone brought him the badge and clothes for a 3rd grade alchemist. In addition, he also received the prohibition token for the alchemy room on the 3rd floor of Sunview Palace. In the Spirit Martial Prefecture branch of the Alchemist Alliance, there weren't many 3rd grade alchemists. Every 3rd grade alchemist had their individual alchemy room. After completing all the procedures, Lu Yun went straight to Bright Sun Palace. His purpose was simple: to collect alchemy materials. However, the result left him greatly disappointed. Steward Lu told him that the materials could only be collected once a month, and Lu Yun still had half a month to wait. What disappointed Lu Yun the most was that each 3rd grade alchemist only received 100 batches of materials per month at most. Lu Yun, heavy-hearted, left Bright Sun Palace, his return having been less satisfying than the departure. Fine, it's been a while since I visited the Martial Academy. It's time to go back. Before leaving the county capital, Lu Yun spent 20 spirit crystals to buy a large number of spirit herbs, refined many 1st grade and 2nd grade pills, and replenished the empty shelves of Fly Cloud Pavilion. Myriad Phenomena Tower. A lofty and magnificent tower extends into the sky. Many disciples of the Martial Academy are gathered on the vast and empty Myriad Phenomena Square. Among them, there are many outstanding Level 5 innate talent geniuses from the new disciples, and even a few powerful Star Palace disciples. At this time, a cute and petite girl emerges from the Myriad Phenomena Tower, standing on her tiptoes to look at the crowd, quickly spotting Chen Yaowei wearing a light purple dress, and immediately running over to her. Sister, one almost past the 9th level. Chen Menghan said excitedly. Little sister is amazing, keep up the good work and aim to pass next time, Chen Yaowei said indulgently. Hee, okay, and then we'll enter the Star Palace together, Chen Menghan said with a sly grin, her beautiful eyes scanning the crowd before frowning. Why are so many people coming to Myriad Phenomena Tower today? Has something happened? That person has arrived. Chen Yaowei looked at Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall. At that moment, an individual's information had completely filled the top area of the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall. Congratulations, Gu Yuan, for passing the 9th level of Myriad Phenomena Tower. Congratulations, Gu Yuan, for passing the 10th level of Myriad Phenomena Tower. Congratulations, Gu Yuan, for passing the 11th level of Myriad Phenomena Tower. At this moment, everyone was staring at the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall, as if something there had captured their attention. Among them was a young man with keen eyes and a determined expression, carrying a heavy big knife on his back. He stared intently at the Jade Wall. Gu Yuan, you're strong, but temporary leads don't necessarily mean permanent ones. I'll catch up eventually. The young man clenched his fists and turned around, preparing to leave. However, just as he was leaving, a young man in a purple and black star robe suddenly appeared in front of him. The moment he saw the young man, his tranquil heart began to churn. He remembered the scene on the black boat in the sky when enemies attacked, and everyone had fallen except for one unyielding young man who had drawn his sword to fight. That tragic and heroic scene often replayed in his mind. There was no denying that the reason he chose the heavy knife as his weapon was heavily influenced by the image of that unyielding and stalwart young man. As the figure from his memory overlapped with the young man before him, a touch of excitement and admiration emerged in Bailey E's eyes. "Lu, senior brother Lu. Haha, one remember you, Bailey E, right?" Lu Yun joked with a smile. Lu Yun had a deep impression of Bailey E. The first time they met, Bailey E had sandbags weighing tens of pounds tied to his legs, and he revealed a 5-star top talent innate gift. How could he not remember? Lu Yun's gaze fell on the heavy saber behind Bailey E and smiled slightly. This heavy saber wasn't sharpened, but it gave a sense of heaviness. After sizing up Bailey E a few times, Lu Yun laughed. "You seem to be in peak condition, not like you just came out of the Myriad Phenomena Tower." Bailey E glanced back at the Myriad Phenomena Tower and shook his head. "I'm not confident enough about the 10th floor yet." This time, one came for someone else to see how big the gap is between him and me. At this point, his tone paused slightly, then he sighed deeply and said with a bitter smile, "That gap will take me a very long time to catch up." Lu Yun laughed. "Oh, are you confident? Or are you prepared?" After a moment of silence, Bailey E said slowly, "Honestly, I don't know if I'm confident, but I won't give up. I'm prepared to catch up all the way." Lu Yun didn't comment on this, he just said, "It's pretty good to have a goal, but you should always understand that any goal is just a way of motivation." With that, Lu Yun's figure flickered, and he disappeared from Bailey E's sight. As for Lu Yun's arrival, few people knew about it, apart from Bailey E. At this time, most people's attention was focused on the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall. Gu Yuan's name began to spread only among a small number of new disciples, but 2 months ago, he passed 8 floors of the Myriad Phenomena Tower in one go, which caused a sensation in the Martial Academy. Gradually, his feat of breaking the innate talent stone with his talent was also dug up, and it was found out that he even became the dean's closed-door disciple. This made Gu Yuan's fame surpass the previous generation of Bai Haoxuan, Xiao Qun, and Lu Yun. Especially since Xiao Qun and Lu Yun had disappeared from Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Now, the news of Gu Yuan's return to the Myriad Phenomena Tower after 2 months of silence had attracted the attention of many Martial Academy disciples. Gu Yuan did not disappoint everyone. He barely entered the Myriad Phenomena Tower, and soon he entered the 9th, 10th, and 11th floors with unstoppable momentum. Senior brother Lu and I have similar 5-star innate gifts, but one feel that catching up with him is 10 or 100 times harder than catching up with Gu Yuan. Looking at Lu Yun, who had disappeared before his eyes, Bailey E muttered in his heart. Standing on the summit of a tall mountain on the 16th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, the mountain peak howled, and Lu Yun stood there for a long time. "Strange, what's going on here? Are they asking me to enjoy the scenery?" Although he grumbled, Lu Yun still enjoyed the scenery at the foot of the mountain. Only by climbing to the top can one look down upon every mountain. 1 a.m. barely standing at the summit of genius now, but a genius is still far from a powerful person. Only by truly becoming strong and standing at the pinnacle of power can one completely look down upon the mountains. H11. Just as Lu Yun was passionately expressing his ambitions, a sudden sound of an eagle's cry interrupted his thoughts. In the high sky, a strong wind was blowing, and the shadows of 5 huge birds cast a large shadow on the sky, diving rapidly. Their speed was extremely fast, like falling stars. Each of the giant birds was about 4 to 5 feet tall, with a wingspan of nearly 10 feet, covered in golden feathers. As they dived down, they brought golden light all over the sky, and their momentum was extremely frightening. Seeking death. Cold light flickered in Lu Yun's eyes, and with a punch the air exploded, and a terrifying fist formed from pure yang aura charged up to pierce through everything. The cries of agony echoed through the sky, and one of the golden giant birds immediately turned into golden light, disappearing in the horizon. As the other 4 giant birds dived down, the light of thunder flickered. With the terrifying power of his flesh, it was as if he could shatter mountains and rivers, and the air kept booming. Boom, boom. In the blink of an eye, the gigantic golden birds were blasted into spirit light. Lu Yun stood affront the wind, his clothes rustling in the breeze. In just a few breaths of time, relying on the power of his strong body, he killed 5 4th-rank early-stage demon beasts. This power was simply terrifying and unrivaled. Chapter 174. A different 20th floor in a cultivation room on the 3rd floor of the Star Tower. What? Bai Haoxuan, who was initially closing his eyes and sitting cross-legged, stood up, his eyebrows slightly furrowed. Gu Yuan passed the 11th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower? Gu Yuan had just passed the 8th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower 2 months ago. B0XO. Moreover, it is very difficult to pass between the 8th and 14th floors of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Each floor is a threshold, blocking countless disciples. Even he himself passed 1 floor at a time back then. As far as he knew, apart from Xiao Chen and Lu Yun, 2 abnormal fellows, no one else had ever passed more than 2 floors at once. Now, his junior brother, who had just entered the martial academy not long ago, had actually reached this stage. It's been a long time since I've entered the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Let's go now. Bai Haoxuan's eyes burst with a fighting spirit. Ever since Lu Yun and Xiao Chen disappeared, no one has been able to put pressure on me for a long time. I hope this junior brother Gu can continue to make such progress. Otherwise, the entire martial academy is really too bland. Only intense competition can further stimulate a person's potential. And competition often comes from peers with the same generation of senior brothers. Bai Haoxuan now felt the pressure from his junior brother, his body now full of fighting spirit, and he made a prompt decision to head towards the Myriad Phenomena Tower. There are really a lot of people. As soon as Bai Haoxuan appeared on the Myriad Phenomena Square, he saw many martial academy disciples gathered here, crowding the huge square. Obviously, most of these people were here for Gu Yuan. Bai Haoxuan, it's been a long time since you've shown up. Ma Yunfei mumbled after seeing Bai Haoxuan's appearance. Are you also stimulated by Gu Yuan's progress? Even the junior brothers who joined later are catching up. As the number 1 person on the surface of the previous generation, I naturally cannot slack off, and I can't let these junior brothers look down on me. Bai Haoxuan said with a smile. At this moment, Bai Haoxuan, Ma Yunfei, and others' gazes were all attracted by the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall. Congratulations to Gu Yun for successfully passing the 12th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. At this moment, the top of the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall was occupied by such a piece of information. He passed 4 floors in a row. Ma Yunfei's eyes were full of shock and disbelief. He had been in the martial academy for nearly 2 years, but he was still struggling on the 12th floor. Gu Yuan. Ma Yunfei's eyes burst with a fighting spirit as he felt the long-lost passion return. The many martial academy disciples around the square also saw the information on the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall and noticed Bai Haoxuan's appearance in Myriad Phenomena Square. They could not help but associate the two and began to discuss it quietly. Bai Haoxuan has actually appeared. Wasn't it more than 2 months since Bai Haoxuan last passed the 15th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower? Could it be that he is already confident in passing the 16th floor? It's not easy to pass the 16th floor, although among our generation, Xiao Chen and Lu Yun aren't here, so only Bai Haoxuan can suppress these new disciples, right? Many people turned their gazes to Bailey Yi, Chen Menghan, Chen Yaowei, and other new disciples. In the end, their gazes fell silently on the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall, as the resounding name cast a deep shadow over the hearts of the many older generation disciples. passing 4 floors of the Myriad Phenomena Tower at once, had already surpassed the past Lu Yun and Xiao Qin. Bailey Yi stood silently in a corner, sneering at the whispered discussions of the people around him. Only he knew that Lu Yun had already appeared inside the Myriad Phenomena Tower. With that evasive movement technique and unfathomable strength, he believed that the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall would soon be swarmed with messages. Whoosh! Just as everyone was still speculating whether Gu Yuan could create a record and pass the 13th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, the information bar at the top of the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall suddenly changed, and another piece of information instantly occupied it. Congratulations to Lu Yun for successfully passing the 18th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Seeing this piece of information, the originally bustling Myriad Phenomena Square was suddenly silent for a moment. Lu Yun passed the 18th floor? How is that possible? Isn't there a mistake? I heard that since Lu Yun passed the 13th floor, he had never appeared again. Moreover, we didn't see Lu Yun enter the Myriad Phenomena Tower just now. How did he suddenly pass the 18th floor? If I recall correctly, Bai Haoxuan is only on the 15th floor now. Gradually, Ma Yunfei and other Star Palace disciples, as well as Chun Menghan and other new disciples, were all dumbfounded. Sister, am one seeing this right? Senior brother Lu really passed the 18th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower? Chen Menghan, who looked like a little girl, had a shocked and worshipful expression on her pretty face. Chen Yaowei just smiled and nodded, not saying anything. At this moment, she felt somewhat uncertain in her heart. After all, that was the 18th floor. As far as she knew, those above the 20th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower had at least a transforming origin realm late-stage cultivation base, and they were heavenly pride talents who could challenge higher levels. Lu Yun had only entered the martial academy a year earlier than her, and now he had actually passed the 18th floor. Whoosh! A slightly burly figure suddenly appeared outside the Myriad Phenomena Tower. He held a huge axe, his expression full of vigor and awe-inspiring aura. He glanced back at the towering and magnificent Myriad Phenomena Tower and muttered to himself, passing 4 floors in one go and ultimately stopping at the 13th floor. This result should satisfy my master. Thinking about this, he felt the fatigue in his body vanish instantly, and his mood became relaxed. Chapter 175. A Different 20th Floor, Part 2. He casually swept his gaze over the crowd densely packed in the Myriad Phenomena Square. A hint of disdain flashed in his eyes. These people, not thinking about improving their strength, only knew how to join in on the excitement. They were destined not to achieve greatness in the future. In the end, his gaze casually swept over the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall. His goal was to leave his name on the Jade Wall as quickly as possible, not just to appear at the top of a small location for a short time. Of course, with his current strength, he could only appear in that position. B0XO. Calm glancing at it, he found his name wasn't there. Instead, someone else's name was displayed, which surprised him a bit. Hee, senior brother Lu has actually overshadowed me. He suddenly thought of the words his master often warned him with. Do not be arrogant because of a little success, for there are always people who are better than you. Not to mention other places, even among the young generation of Flying Spirit Martial Academy, there are 2 disciples who one can't see through. One is the mysterious and unfathomable Xiao Qin. Even the tower spirit can't see his background and details. The other is the low-key Lu Yun, who always retains his strength. When you can catch up with one of them, one will let you go out and gain experience. I will never stop you. Thinking of this, Gu Yuan couldn't help but smile bitterly. Master, the goal you set for me is a bit too high. Although there is only a 5-level gap between the 18th and 12th floors of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, it is not easy to close this gap. Even though he was very confident in his talents and progress, it seems that I can only take senior brother Xiao as my goal. Xiao Chen's achievement was the 14th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, and he had already gone out to gain experience, so he wouldn't be returning to Martial Academy anytime soon. He had confidence that he could pass the 14th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower before Xiao Chen returned. My progress is still too slow. I should go back and ask Master to use the Heavenly Star Earth slaying axe on me again. Thinking of this, Gu Yuan quickened his pace and left the Myriad Phenomena Square. On the 19th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, a white-scaled purple-gold knife in hand, Lu Yun coldly stared at the enormous python in the distance. The python was as thick as a large tree and more than 20 or 30 feet long. Under the shining moonlight, the scale armor on the black python's body flickered with a faint glow. A 4th rank peak? Lu Yun gripped his long knife. Pure yang aggressive aura surged. Roar! The black python roared angrily, and its thick tail swept fiercely, striking on the ground nearby with a terrifying force. Bang! A large area of towering trees was cut down at the waist, and the ground was torn apart, leaving a huge trench dozens of feet long. With another sweep of the monstrous tail, it struck in another direction, breaking more trees and creating another giant trench. In the blink of an eye, the surroundings were turned into a mess. Lu Yun watched this scene, and the fighting intent in his eyes pulsated. The strength of a 4th rank peak demon beast was much stronger than one at the late stage of the 4th rank. However, this was exactly what he wanted. Let's see if you can test my strength. Lu Yun laughed loudly, instantly increasing his aura, and the blade whistled out. Bang bang! Both sides clashed instantly. The python suddenly unleashed a surge of demon energy, and its fearsome tail slammed down like a giant pillar. In an instant, dust rose, and a huge gap appeared in the ground. Good fellow, not only is your reaction speed fast, but your defense and strength are also terrifying. You truly deserve to be a 4th rank demon beast. Lu Yun praised and executed the perfect Gale Thunder Flash step, increasing his speed drastically while unleashing 80% of his strength and pure yang aggressive aura. Bang! The terrifying knife fell on the head of the black python, and a powerful blade exploded out. Scales snapped and fell as a huge wound appeared on its head. At the same time, under the tremendous force, the gigantic body of the black python was actually sent flying, crashing down dozens of feet away, knocking down a swath of towering trees. Before it could coil back up, a terrifying knife intent fell from the sky. The black python sensed the danger of life and death, but there was no time to dodge. It hurriedly swung its tail to sweep at the blade intent. Rip! Blood splattered, dyeing the sky. The thick tail broke with a cracking sound and flew out horizontally. The black python roared in pain, and its mutilated body constantly writhed on the ground. Its crimson eyes stared at Lu Yun. Looking at the python's eyes filled with hatred, Lu Yun had no sympathy. The long knife's blade surged, transformed into a thunderbolt, and rushed towards the sky. Suddenly, a blade intent split the heavens and the earth. Bang bang! The dazzling blade intent slammed down, and the massive body of the black python was cut open by the terrifying force, the scene so gruesome it was unbearable to witness if it were a real demon beast. Should one take a look at the next floor? Looking at the vortex portal that appeared in front of him, Lu Yun rubbed his chin thoughtfully. If it wasn't for the subsequent martial arts study, Lu Yun would definitely not pass through the 17th, 18th, and 19th floors consecutively. I'll just go in and take a look, testing my abilities while doing so. As long as I don't clear the level in the end. Eventually, Lu Yun entered the 20th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower with the intention of giving it a try. While the 19th floor had 4th rank peak demon beasts, the 20th floor most likely contained 5th rank early stage demon beasts. Chapter 176. A different 20th floor, Part 3. Lu Yun too thought as much. However, as he stepped into the whirlpool portal and entered the Myriad Phenomena Tower, he was suddenly taken aback. There was a pitch-black sky here, with no structures or energy fluctuations around. Suddenly, a tornado launched itself in front of him. The tornado kept swirling, echoing a voice from within. "Welcome to the 20th floor, you have 10 breaths to prepare. B0XO. Calm. Lu Yun's eyes narrowed, staring hard at the tornado, attempting to discern any mystery within. Time passed swiftly and he discerned nothing. The scenery abruptly shifted, and he found himself inside a grand hall. The hall was spacious and tall, strikingly immense, a dozen feet high and equally wide. What surprised him was that within this hall, he felt a mysterious power had sealed his dantian. He could not utilize the pure yang aura. The only forces available to him were his physical strength and the slaughter conception. Such a drastic change between the 19th and 20th floor? Lu Yun couldn't help but feel puzzled. Swish, swish. Suddenly, the hall showcased a silver brilliance that gradually retracted, revealing a figure. He was dressed in a silver robe, with long hair draped over his shoulders, sharp features, deep starry eyes, a tall nose, and a lofty disposition that could captivate any woman. Lu Yun stared at this figure in surprise. Why does he look exactly like me? His chilling demeanor even outshone himself, the real Lu Yun. For a mere true Qi realm adept to reach this place, not bad at all, sneered the silver Lu Yun. However, I advise you not to hold back, otherwise once one attack, you won't have the ability to retaliate. You are even more arrogant than me, the original. Lu Yun laughed in anger. Kill! In an angry roar, 2 gazes as sharp as knives shot out. Whoosh! Blood-red killing intent immediately swept in, rapidly shredding the ripples in the air. The illusory sword radiance flickered and vanished. Others might not see this blood-red blade light, but Lu Yun could feel it viscerally. A slicing sound suddenly echoed. The Lu Yun, who looked identical to him, immediately froze. Following RHE slash of a blade, he was cut into halves. Faint sounds echoed. Lu Yun saw his impostor had been cleaved into 2, seemingly lifeless, turning into a faint silver light. Even without the pure yang aura, killing you is like slaughtering a dog. Lu Yun smirked. Martial arts conception, though it cannot manifest physically, doesn't mean it cannot be used to kill enemies. It can even suppress enemies and enhance one's strength. Lu Yun's slaughter conception had reached 50% of the first rank, which suppressed the opponent the moment it was released. A match between masters is decided in an instant. However, the 20th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower shouldn't be this simple. Having dispatched his doppelganger, Lu Yun did not let his guard down, but carefully surveyed his surroundings. Swish! The silver light in the hall slowly gathered, and another familiar voice appeared again. You can regenerate your physical body? Lu Yun's eyes narrowed. Meanwhile, his grip tightened on the white-scale purple-gold knife. His slaughter conception flooded into the blade, allowing the red killing intent to pervade a 10-foot radius around him. Bagging martial arts conception wasn't expected, sneered the silver-robed Lu Yun. However, dreaming to pass the 20th floor of Myriad Phenomena Tower with just 50% of the first-rank slaughter conception, dream on. Rumble. As he spoke, his aura skyrocketed, exuding a terrifying killing intent that pushed against Lu Yun's slaughter conception's range. At the same time, he clenched his right hand, ripples of space appeared, and a long knife condensed out. Impressive, this knife head and the white-scale purple-gold knife in Lu Yun's hand were exactly the same. Kill. Suddenly, for no reason, a terrifying aggressive aura overwhelmed him, and Lu Yun couldn't help but step back a few paces. The moment that aggressive aura spread, Lu Yun knew that the other party was also using the slaughter conception, and it was already very close to the second rank. It was precisely for this reason that the collision of the 2 slaughter conceptions nearly caused his own to collapse, forcing him to retreat. At this moment, the silver-robed Lu Yun had already attacked. Splurt! Under the almost second-rank slaughter conception, the blade of the Lu Yun's knife in the silver robe spouted radiance, resembling a river of blood. Under the martial arts conception, the radiating blade and sword chi were much more substantial and terrifying than those slashed out by true chi or true origin. The resemblance and the white-scale purple gold knife are the same, even the martial arts conception is the same? Lu Yun thought to himself, it seems that from the 20th floor onwards, the myriad phenomena tower tests the level of martial arts conception. The conception of the opponent at this level is at the peak of the first rank, much higher than mine. The chance of winning is not great, but isn't this the purpose of the myriad phenomena tower? As long as one stand undefeated, one might be able to improve the slaughter conception. Lu Yun still clearly remembered that Chen Tianyun had said that the myriad phenomena tower, the heart inquiry pavilion, and the thousand illusion hall all served a similar purpose. Prepare to die. In a blink of an eye, silver-robed Lu Yun was already striking. Whoosh! A more than 10 feet long, blood-red sword radiance instantly tore through the quiet hall, leaving a red afterimage. Boom! 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 The space trembled violently. This sword radiance, bolstered by the slaughter conception, was incredibly concentrated, and its power was far more terrifying. Humph! Even though my slaughter conception has only reached 50% of the first rank, that doesn't mean I'm weaker than you. Lu Yun let out a cold snort in his heart, shook his long knife, and killed. Boom! 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 The collision of the slaughter conceptions, the blood-red killing intent constantly churned, and Lu Yun, relying on his strong physical strength, forcefully resisted this terrifying suppressive power. Immediately, with a fierce chop, he forcefully blocked the silver-robed youth who was rushing towards him. He actually blocked it? But that's all. Before the knife had fully fallen, the ground of the great hall began to crack and collapse, as if there were forces of the 5 elements tearing them apart. Blocks of bricks floated up, and quickly shattered under the fierce knife chi and rampaging killing intent. In the next instant, a knife, like a shooting star, burst out a red glow, pulling out several feet of flaming tail. The flame tail was entwined with blood-red killing intent and knife chi, creating a sizzling sound. It seemed to bring a slaughter-filled world, pressing towards Lu Yun. Bring it on! Lu Yun's eyes were cold, and the star robe on his body flared out without any wind, blowing backward. Both his hands tightly gripped the white-scale purple-gold knife, pouring in a powerful force. Meanwhile, the blood lotus in the sea of consciousness space seemed to be under tremendous pressure and traction, trembling continuously. He struck a knife slowly, seemingly very slow, but in fact it was an extremely swift and heavy strike. There was a faint feeling of invisible forces colliding and shaking in the hall, the space seemed a little unstable, and the creaking sound kept echoing. Under this fierce confrontation, Lu Yun could feel his own blood flowing faster and faster. He could even feel the trembling of the blood-colored lotus platform in the sea of consciousness space. Splurt! In the end, Lu Yun was sent flying directly. The suppression of the peak first-rank slaughter conception was too great for him. This move ended undoubtedly with Lu Yun's defeat. However, rather than calling it a defeat, it would be more accurate to call it a sort of success, because he found that his slaughter conception seemed to have slightly improved. The silver-robed youth's face showed a trace of surprise. He actually blocked it again? Clash! The killing intent surged wildly, transforming into an afterimage. The whole space seemed to tremble, and the blood-colored knife chi extended out, slashing towards Lu Yun again. Humph! Lu Yun let out a cold snort, rook a step forward, the surrounding bloody world violently shook. Then, Rhe white-scale purple-gold knife in his hand fell from top to bottom, without any muddiness, smooth as can be. With a drop of the knife, the air rippled like water, vertically split open. Chapter 177. The 4 methods of practice. Lu Yun originally entered the 20th floor with the attitude of giving it a try, but he didn't expect that on this level, he would have to fight another version of himself. The key point was that his dantian was sealed, and he couldn't use the pure yang aura. In the end, Facing the other version of himself who was not weaker in any aspect and had reached the peak of the first rank in slaughter conception, he was eventually defeated. Puff! A blade grazed past the space and directly crossed Lu Yun's skull. B0XO. Calm on this 20th floor, Lu Yun ultimately failed, and it was a thorough defeat. To defeat the opponent, my slaughter conception must be elevated to AR least 80 or go% of the first rank, only then will I have a chance. While failing, Lu Yun also gained some understanding of the difficulty of the 20th floor. On the Myriad Phenomena Square, many Martial Academy disciples gathered here, some waiting to enter the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Others were shocked while looking at the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall. Congratulations to Lu Yun for successfully passing the 19th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. These big words were particularly noticeable. People present didn't know the difficulty of the 19th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, but they were well aware of how powerful those who could pass the 19th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower were. It hadn't been long since the last Heavenly Pride, who was at the late stage of the transforming Origin Realm and capable of contending with the Origin Fluid Realm, passed the 20th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. By comparing the two, one could guess how powerful Lu Yun was after passing the 19th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. The 19th floor, huh? A glint flashed in by Heoxuan's eyes. Then I must pass this 16th floor, one must. When someone emerged from the Myriad Phenomena lower, Bai Haoxuan sped up with a swoosh, and his powerful force erupted, intimidating another disciple who was preparing to enter the tower and made him dare not move. Meanwhile, Bai Haoxuan also took advantage of the gap and rushed into the Myriad Phenomena lower. I just passed the 11th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower not long ago, Lu Yun, and you already passed the 19th floor. Ma Yunfei looked at Lu Yun, who appeared outside the tower. His eyes filled with complicated emotions as he took a deep look at the ladder and then turned around to leave silently. Many other disciples stared at Lu Yun, who was wearing a purple-black star robe, with admiration and awe. For most disciples, Lu Yun had become a legend in the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. From the first floor to the 19th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, it took him less than 2 years, a situation that had never occurred in the Flying Spirit Martial Academy. After the collision of Slaughter Conception and being crushed, Lu Yun's spiritual power was greatly damaged. At this time, his face was somewhat pale. He smiled slightly at the crowd and left the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Flying Spirit Martial Academy. The small courtyard of Yixingchen. Yixingchen, Lei Kang, and Jiang Wen finally gathered and chatted casually, very happy and joyful. Jiang Wen laughed and said, "Master, you've accepted a very good junior brother for us." In less than a year, he managed to pass the 12th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower / haha. This little guy Gu Yuan is indeed good. It's not in vain that one made an exception and accepted him as my disciple. Yixingchen laughed heartily, very satisfied with Gu Yuan. Why, Brother Jiang, weren't you usually uninterested in the Academy's affairs? How come you suddenly know about the Myriad Phenomena Tower now? Lei Kang asked somewhat unexpectedly. After all, 1 a.m. the second senior brother, isn't it only normal for me to care a little about my junior brother? Jiang Wen laughed. Indeed, he was not interested in matters other than cultivation, but since meeting Lu Yun at the Alchemist Alliance, he began to pay attention to the new entry-level disciples of the Academy now. It was fine if he didn't pay attention, but once he did, he suddenly realized that he had a new junior brother, and this junior brother seemed to have extraordinary talent. At this moment, Yi Xingchen's pair of vicissitudes and turbid eyes suddenly burst into light, and an aura inadvertently leaked out from his body, causing the space in the small courtyard to vibrate violently. Lei Kang and Jiang Wen, both peak-level powerhouses in the Golden Body Realm, changed their expressions slightly. The casually spread aura just now was truly terrifying. However, it came and went quickly. "Master, may I ask what happened just now?" Lei Kang asked curiously. Jiang Wen was also puzzled on the other side. You all should know who Lu Yun is, right? Yi Xingchen said softly, with a hint of regret in his voice. Lei Kang and Jiang Wen nodded almost at the same time. Both had a deep impression of Lu Yun, and according to the situation just now, they suspected that the one who caused their unfathomable master's mood to change was probably Lu Yun. Yi Xingchen regained his composure and slowly said, "Just now, the tower spirit sent me a message saying that Lu Yun has passed the 19th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower and even persisted for a long time on the 20th floor. Now, he deeply regretted not accepting Xiao Qin and Lu Yun initially." 19th floor? Lei Kang put down the wine glass in his hand and smiled slightly. One knew this kid was extraordinary back in Eastfield Giant City, but I didn't expect him to achieve this in such a short time. He is indeed a great talent. Jiang Wen also nodded and smiled. The first time one met Lu Yun was at the Alchemist Alliance. At that time, one discovered that not only was this kid's martial arts talent monstrous, but his talent in alchemy was not far behind. However, to pass the 19th floor, one must have at least the combat power of the peak of the origin fluid realm. One can be sure that 2 months ago, his strength was at most at the limit of true Qi and hadn't started transforming true origin yet. Chapter 178. The Four Methods of Practice, Part 2. It seems that our junior brother will be under great pressure. As disciples of Yi Xingchen, they were considered elites among their peers. Now, Lei Kang was only one step away from the Rune Seed realm. Lu Yun didn't know about the conversation between the three powerful experts. He returned to his residence at Star Peak and rested for a night, regaining his peak spirit. Let's see how many contribution points I've earned. B0XO. Calm on the balcony outside the small building, Lu Yun's mood was somewhat surging. Congratulations on passing the 16th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, earning 9,000 contribution points. Congratulations on passing the 17th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, earning 10,000 contribution points. Congratulations on passing the 18th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, earning 11,000 contribution points. Congratulations on passing the 19th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, earning 12,000 contribution points. Seeing these messages, Lu Yun's heart was filled with joy. With the previous remaining 5,435 contribution points, he now had nearly 45,000 points in total. With so many contribution points, I can exchange them for the corresponding cultivation techniques. Lu Yun thought to himself. That afternoon, Lu Yun headed to the book collection pavilion. Greetings, Elder. Lu Yun respectfully saluted the elder guarding the book collection pavilion. The higher one's realm, the more one could sense the unfathomable strength of the elder stationed here. It's been a long time since I've seen you. Your strength has improved quite fast. The book collection pavilion elder smiled and nodded. You're here to select cultivation techniques, right? Lu Yun nodded, yes. Cultivation techniques cannot be contained in ordinary book. The 3rd floor has a separate space, and you need to pay contribution points before you can go up. There's also a time limit, and it costs 2,000 contribution points per hour. You can choose any cultivation technique. Hearing this, Lu Yun's eyes narrowed slightly, thinking that it was too good to be true. The book collection pavilion elder chuckled lightly. How long do you plan to stay? Junior brother plans to spend 5 hours. After saying this, Lu Yun handed over his identity token. The elder took the token, deducted 10,000 contribution points, and returned it to Lu Yun. Little fellow, go on up, make good use of your time. If you exceed the time, you'll automatically be expelled from the book collection pavilion. Yes. Lu Yun nodded but felt puzzled in his heart. The elder seemed different from before, appearing more kind and gentle. A moment later, Lu Yun arrived on the 3rd floor of the book collection pavilion. There were no bookshelves here, only numerous jade walls. On each jade wall, there were many different marks. In front of the jade walls, several disciples were sitting cross-legged with their eyes closed, seemingly comprehending something. Ordinary paper cannot contain cultivation technique. Only special methods can preserve powerful technique. Now I finally understand the true meaning of that statement. From a distance, Lu Yun could feel the aura emanating from the jade walls. Lu Yun approached the nearest jade wall and saw that its inscriptions were dense and small, making it difficult to discern in the dim environment, especially without excellent eyesight and concentration. Besides, it was worth mentioning that there were many jade walls on the entire third floor, and there were multiple cultivation techniques on each wall. By estimation, there were at least tens of thousands of cultivation techniques on the third floor. Lu Yun calculated the time in his heart while browsing the outlines of the cultivation techniques on the jade walls. Only by finding the martial arts suitable for him could he begin comprehension. However, it was not easy to find a suitable one among so many jade walls and numerous cultivation techniques. Since time was tight, Lu Yun quickly skimmed through them. After 2 hours, Lu Yun spent most of his time browsing the outlines of the cultivation technique. These cultivation techniques could only be obtained by comprehending the imprinted mark. Otherwise, Lu Yun would have memorized them quickly with his speed-reading memory. Although he wasted 2 hours, Lu Yun gained something valuable. He discovered that the auras emitted by different cultivation techniques varied in nature. After learning this trick, Lu Yun closed his eyes and began to slowly sense the aura emanating from the jade walls. He practiced internal pure yang cultivation and needed yang or fire attribute techniques for integration. Thus, he focused on the jade walls that released yang or fire attribute auras. After another hour, Lu Yun made a new discovery. The stronger the emitted aura, the higher the level of the cultivation technique. Relying on sensing the aura leaked by the imprinted marks on the jade walls, Lu Yun quickly filtered through the technique. At this moment, Lu Yun's eyes fell on a tall jade wall. It was located in a dark corner of the third floor. However, this jade wall exuded an extremely strong yang attribute aura. In an instant, he found what he was looking for. It was only a few dozen characters long. 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual, divided into 3 levels, corresponding to the transforming Origin Realm, Origin Fluid Realm, and Golden Body Realm. Upon seeing this, Lu Yun's heart trembled. Wasn't this the cultivation technique he was looking for? Without hesitation, he sat down cross-legged and started to comprehend it. 4 hours later, Lu Yun finally comprehended the complete 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual. This was because his innate talent had been upgraded to 7 stars, otherwise it would have taken even longer. Another 2 hours went by, and Lu Yun found and comprehended a movement technique called the Thunder Wind Transformation. An hour later, Lu Yun was forcibly expelled from the 3rd floor of the book collection pavilion by a mysterious force. Chapter 179. The 4 Cultivation Techniques _3 Little Fellow, have you made some gains? After seeing Lu Yun, the elder of Book Collection Pavilion narrowed his eyes and asked with a smile. Pretty good. Lu Yun nodded, then handed his identity token to the elder once again, and said with a smile, Elder, I plan to spend another 5 hours in the Book Collection Pavilion. Good. After the elder of the Book Collection Pavilion deducted 10,000 contribution points from Lu Yun's identity token again, he kindly reminded, the cultivation techniques on the 3rd floor may not be as vast as an ocean, but after many years of accumulation, there are at least tens of thousands of them. As long as you find a suitable one, do not try to be excessively ambitious. Thank you for the reminder, Elder. I will keep it in mind. Lu Yun took the token and went back to the 3rd floor again. After searching for half an hour, he had found a saber technique that he liked. However, before he could understand it, he was expelled from the Book Collection Pavilion. B0XO. Calm this time, he went straight to where he was previously, under the jade wall, and began to interpret. 5 hours had passed. Lu Yun was once again expelled from the Book Collection Pavilion. It seems you've found the cultivation technique you were looking for. One just don't know if you've successfully understood it? The elder of the book collection pavilion looked at Lu Yun and said with a smile, I was pretty lucky and I have successfully understood it. Then Lu Yun bid farewell and left. After leaving the book collection pavilion, in the moment when he looked up and saw the light again, Lu Yun felt a sense of crossing an eon. In fact, Lu Yun had spent less than an entire day on the third floor of the book collection pavilion. However, in this short time, his gains were substantial. The first thing he obtained was the 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual, which has 3 levels corresponding to the Transforming Origin Realm, Origin Fluid Realm, and Golden Body Realm. Afterward, he successfully deciphered a body technique, the Thunder Wind Transformation. Additionally, he deciphered 2 more saber techniques. One was the Traceless Wind Emperor Slash, and another was the 100 Battles Immortal Sword technique. Spending 20,000 contribution points to get 4 cultivation techniques was far beyond Lu Yun's expectations. The square outside the book collection pavilion was like a boundless plain, made of several pieces of jade. Many people liked to exercise their martial arts again after obtaining them. However, Lu Yun chose not to do so and directly crossed the square to the pill medicine building. It has been several months since he last exchanged pills in the pill medicine building. This time, he planned to enjoy a good consumption spree. When he entered the pill medicine building, Yao Lin was, of course, nowhere to be seen. Senior Brother Lu, hello, is there anything I can help you with? As an esteemed figure of the Flying Spirit Martial Academy, as soon as Lu Yun entered the pill medicine building, he was welcomed. Do you have a list of 4th grade pills for exchange? I would like to take a look. Yes, please wait a moment. The junior nodded and turned to fetch a ledger, handing it to Lu Yun. Senior Brother Lu, the 3rd and 4th grade pills are listed in this yellow ledger. You can look at what you want to exchange. Okay, let me take a look. Opening the first page, Lu Yun saw a familiar name. Void Cleansing Pill. Effects. It can quickly recover injuries for martial artists below the True Chi realm, and half of the effect for martial artists in the Transforming Origin realm. Required contribution points. 480 points per bottle. Seeing the introduction above, Lu Yun smirked to himself. Lu Yun has concocted several hundred volumes of the Void Cleansing Pill. Naturally, he had secretly consumed not only a few. Soon, Lu Yun saw the Profound Origin Pill. Lu Yun directly passed by it, and glanced over all the 3rd grade pills afterward. After turning over a dozen pages, Lu Yun finally stopped. True Origin Pill. Effects. A Transforming Origin Realm martial artist can recover 5 to 6/10 of their true origin after consuming this pill. Required contribution points. 2,000 points per bottle. Even though it's expensive, it's definitely worth it. Just imagine, a pill that can recover 5 to 6/10 of true origin could play a vital role at a critical moment. Especially in a continuous or stalemate battle situation, a true origin pill could even determine the final victory. Lu Yun then looked over several other types of 4th grade pills. Spiritual Jade Pill, 4 wound recovery, required 2,100 contribution points per bottle. Protecting Meridian Pill. Ice Heart Pill. In the end, Lu Yun spent all his contribution points and exchanged for 3 bottles of Spiritual Jade Pill, 3 bottles of True Origin Pill, 3 bottles of Protecting Meridian Pill, and a bottle of Heart Protecting Pill. All are pills for recovery and true origin replenishment. I suppose this won't raise much suspicion. When he left the pill medicine building, Lu Yun thought to himself. Chapter 180. Fusion. In his cultivation room, Lu Yun was sitting cross-legged on a cushion. Name: Lu Yun. Power: Flying Spirit Martial Academy. Martial Arts Skills: 7 Kill Saber Technique, reached Profound, Unimprovable. Black Tiger Saber Technique, accomplished B0XO. Calm, Unimprovable. 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual. Pre-entry. Traceless Wind Emperor Slash. Pre-entry. 100 Battles Immortal Sword Technique, Pre-Entry. Thunder Wind Transformation, Pre-Entry. Astonishing Wind Saber Manual, Level 4, 8%. Gale Thunder Flash Step, Perfection, Unimprovable, Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon, True Chi Chapter, Perceive Truth. Innate Talent. 7-star Martial Arts Realm. Limit of True Chi Realm, refined 12 times. Energy Value, 2853, automatically increases by 1 each day. Conception, Slaughter Conception, first rank 61%. Pill Refining Technique, Level 4, 2%. Seeing the newly appeared techniques on the panel, Lu Yun gave a subtle smile. After understanding them from the Jade Wall, records had been left on the panel. Next, he would raise the 3 martial arts techniques. Traceless Wind Emperor / 100 Battles Immortal Sword Technique, and Thunder Wind Transformation. While understanding the techniques from the Jade Wall, Lu Yun also found that the potential of these techniques was much higher than what he had imagined. In fact, besides being strong, the reason why Lu Yun had chosen to understand these martial arts techniques was because they were related to the attributes of the martial arts techniques recorded on the panel, and hence easy to fuse. Consume 100 energy value, Traceless Wind Emperor / raised to the first level, 1%. Consume 120 energy value, 100 Battles Immortal Sword Technique raised to the first level, 1%. Consume 80 energy value, Thunder Wind Transformation raised to the first level, 1%. After consuming 300 energy points, the 3 techniques reached entry level. A fusion panel appeared after the Saber Technique and Movement Technique. It seems my conjecture was not wrong. Lu Yun's starry eyes flickered. As long as it was confirmed that the Saber Technique and martial arts techniques with the same or similar attributes could be fused, perhaps the most top-notch Saber Technique and Movement Technique could be created. Settling his mind, Lu Yun opened the panel for Thunder Wind Transformation. Found that Thunder Wind Transformation and Gale Thunder Flash Step can be fused. It requires 2,500 contribution points to fuse. Fuse. With a thought from Lu Yun, the energy value on the panel instantly decreased to 53. The next moment, a gray figure appeared in his mind, starting to fuse the 2 movement technique. 1 month passed by. 2 months passed by. 1 year passed by. One day, the fusion finally succeeded. Wind Thunder Manual. Created by the fusion of Thunder Wind Transformation and Gale Thunder Flash Step, currently having 2 levels, Chasing Clouds, Chasing Lightning, 3000 Thunder Movement, Progress, first level 20%. It actually turned into Wind Thunder Manual, and there are only 2 levels. The fused Perfect Gale Thunder Flash Step. The current progress is only the first level 20%. Lu Yun stroked his chin and contemplated. Looking at it this way, the current potential of Wind Thunder Manual is quite large. It can be used for a long time. Next, Lu Yun took out the pills he had exchanged from the pill medicine building and began to refine them. After the refinement of 3 bottles of spiritual jade pills, 5,700 energy values were added. After the refinement of 3 bottles of true origin pills, 5,100 energy values were added. 3 bottles of protecting meridian pills added 4,500 energy values after refinement. 1 bottle of heart protecting pill added 1,700 energy values after refinement. Energy value I7053 automatically increases by 1 each day, with the energy value suddenly exceeding 10,000 and nearly 20,000. Lu Yun was not going to be careful about his usage. Fuse. 3,500 energy values were consumed in an instant. Immediately, in Lu Yun's mind, that gray figure began to fuse the 7-kill saber technique and the 100 battles immortal sword technique. 1 month passed by. 2 months passed by. 1 year passed by. One day, the fusion finally succeeded. Life Destruction Saber Techniques. Created by the fusion of 7-kill saber technique and 100 battles immortal sword technique, currently having 2 levels, 1 strike ends sins, unparalleled blood blade, progress, first level 25%. The moment Life Destruction Saber Techniques fusion succeeded, Lu Yun felt a sudden sway in his sea of consciousness space. Conception, Slaughter Conception, first rank 80%. The fusion of 7 Kill Saber Technique and 100 Battles Immortal Sword Technique into Life Destruction Saber Techniques actually increased the Slaughter Conception. It seems that both have a complementary effect. Slaughter Conception was the martial arts conception comprehended by 7 Kill Saber Technique when it broke its limit. It unexpectedly rose due to the appearance of the Life Destruction Saber Techniques. This was both surprising and within reason. Perhaps in the future, Astonishing Wind Saber Manual will be my main saber technique on the surface, but Life Destruction Saber Techniques will be my real trump card. With this thought, a glint flashed in Lu Yun's eyes and then vanished. Immediately after, Lu Yun opened the fusion panel of Traceless Wind Emperor / found that Traceless Wind Emperor / and Astonishing Wind Saber Manual can be fused. It requires 4,000 energy values to fuse. With a thought from Lu Yun, 4,000 energy values were consumed in an instant. Immediately after, the gray figure in his mind began to fuse. 1 month passed. 2 months passed. 1 year passed. One day the fusion succeeded. Astonishing Wind Saber Manual. Originally there were 4 levels, 100 Flowers, Wind, Celestial Dance, and Breaking Extreme. After fusing Traceless Wind Emperor / there are a total of 6 levels, 100 Flowers, Wind, Celestial Dance, Breaking Extreme, Destruction, Traceless, Progress, Level 4. Breaking Extreme 8%. Panel. Name: Lu Yun Power, Flying Spirit Martial Academy Cultivation Technique. Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon, True Chi Chapter, Perceive Truth, 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual, Pre-Entry Level, Astonishing Wind Saber Manual, 4th Level, Breaking Extreme 8%. Life Destruction Saber Techniques. 1st Level, 1 Strike Ends Sins 25%. Wind Thunder Manual, 1st Level, Chasing Clouds, Chasing Lightning 20%. Chapter 181. Fusion _2 Innate Talent. 7 stars, Martial Arts. True Chi Realm Limit, refined 12 times. Energy Value, 9553, increases by 1 each day. Conception is Slaughter Conception, first rank 80%. Pill Refining Technique, Level 4, 2%. B0XO. Calm Lu Yun felt the information on the panel while sensing the changes in his own strength. His pure yang aura had not changed at all, and the strength of his flesh had not increased. However, now that he had fused 2 top-notch saber techniques and a top-notch body technique, and had increased his slaughter conception to 80% of the first rank, he felt that his overall strength was more than twice as strong as before. If he were to attempt the Myriad Phenomena Tower again, the 21st floor would not be able to stop him. Moreover, after 3 fusions, his understanding and comprehension of saber techniques and body techniques had undergone a qualitative change. Coming to the courtyard, Lu Yun took up the white-scale purple-gold knife and began to practice the basic Breaking Wind saber technique. In an instant, the shadows of the knife were heavy, and the sound of the air roaring kept exploding. Without infusing pure yang aggressive aura or using slaughter conception, it was just an ordinary move, but the power was incomparable to before. When the comprehension of saber cultivation reaches a certain level, any casual stroke is a terrifying move. Lu Yun had not yet reached that supreme state, but even when practicing the most basic saber technique, he could easily crush martial artists of the same level. After practicing casually in the courtyard for a while, Lu Yun returned to the cultivation room. I have nearly 10,000 energy points left, which can be used to upgrade these techniques. After the Myriad Phenomena Tower affair, he had almost exposed his limit of power, so he must continue to strengthen it. This way, even if someone wanted to harm him, they would never expect that his strength could undergo a qualitative change in such a short period. Upgrade the Astonishing Wind Saber Manual. In less than 10 minutes, he completed the absorption of the memory. Astonishing Wind Saber Manual, 4th Layer, Breaking Extreme, 100%. His eyes suddenly opened wide, and 2 terrifying saber auras shot out, as if cutting the air in front of him into 2 halves. The power of Breaking Extreme was terrifying. With a faint smile, Lu Yun continued to upgrade the Life Destruction Saber technique. The moment the thought fell, his energy value dropped sharply to 1373. Then, a figure practicing saber appeared in his mind. It seemed like 10 years, yet like an instant. When the memory was completely absorbed, a scene filled his mind. A figure stood silently in the void, raising a knife. Suddenly, the wind and clouds were stirred, and a white light blade shot out, tearing apart the curtain of the starry sky. The vast white light clashed with the vast sky, cutting it apart. In an instant, the curtain of the sky was torn apart by a single stroke, revealing clear stars at the break, and the residual white blade continued to rush towards the earth after cutting through the sky. Boom! The knife blade divided the earth, tearing the plains, mountains, and rivers into giant cracks. Life Destruction Saber Techniques. First Layer, 1 Strike Ends Sins, 100%. 1 strike ends sins. From now on, heaven and earth are separated. The shock in Lu Yun's pupils slowly converged. He knew that even if he practiced it to perfection now, it would be wishful thinking to exert such power with 1 stroke. However, this scene in his mind was enough to show the infinite potential of Life Destruction Saber technique. Collecting his thoughts, Lu Yun began to upgrade the Wind Thunder Manual. It didn't take long. Wind Thunder Manual, 1st Layer, Chasing Wind and Thunder, 4-7%. Energy Value, 3, increases by 1 each day. There is still not enough energy. Lu Yun sighed softly. I need to continue accumulating energy. The journey from the Flying Spirit Martial Academy to the Spirit Martial Prefecture City was smooth and uneventful, with no ambushes or attacks occurring along the way. As it turned out, Lu Yun had been overly cautious and vigilant. Even if the power of the White Lotus sect was rampant and feared the prodigy like Lu Yun, they would not dare to make a move on him so close to the Flying Spirit Martial Academy and Spirit Martial Prefecture City. Fly Cloud Pavilion. How has the business been during my absence? Lu Yun asked. Yunxian happily replied, Hee, Brother Lu, we have sold half of the stock, and in just 2 days, we will be able to sell all the remaining items. Good job, keep it up. Lu Yun generously praised. Immediately after, he looked at the shelves in the store and saw many pill bottles, his expression puzzled. Why are there so many pills? I don't remember giving you this many. Well, second-grade pills, especially top-quality ones, are too expensive for most people to buy a whole bottle. So one thought about it and divided each bottle into 10 smaller ones, with 1 pill in each. This way, more people can afford to buy them. At this point, Yongshuan's face turned slightly red with embarrassment, and he said sheepishly, Brother Lu, you won't blame me for doing this, will you? Haha, your mind is very flexible, how could I blame you? Lu Yun patted Yunxian on the shoulder and said, When you have time, use the spirit crystals earned from selling pills to buy a batch of spirit herbs. 111 refine more pills later. This huge store looks empty, and it's not very appealing. With that, Lu Yun began to write down a list of spirit herbs and their corresponding quantities that he needed. The list mainly contained materials for refining second-grade pills, including meridian pills, life essence pills, and others. Of course, the market for first-grade pills was quite large and couldn't be ignored. However, Lu Yun could only refine body-tempering pills at this point, so the list only included the materials for that particular first-grade pill. Upon receiving Lu Yun's instructions, Yunxian immediately took the list and went to buy the spirit herbs. In a way, he hoped to see Fly Cloud Pavilion continue to operate for a long time, as it held memories of him and his grandfather. Even though Fly Cloud Pavilion no longer belonged to him, Lu Yun was essentially a hands-off owner. In a sense, Yunxian was still the master of Fly Cloud Pavilion. There were about 2 or 3 dozen types of materials on Lu Yun's list, each requiring a different amount. The total number was not small, but fortunately, Lu Yun had given Yunxian a sumi bag, or he wouldn't have been able to carry everything by himself. 3 days later, the shelves of Fly Cloud Pavilion were full of jade bottles, making the place look very well stocked. Yunxian looked at this scene with a sincere smile on his face. "Brother Lu, I will definitely manage Fly Cloud Pavilion well for you and never let you down." Yunxian swung his fist and said solemnly. Lu Yun nodded slightly and said, "Once you have enough spirit crystals, buy another batch of materials. When one have time, I'll refine more pills." This time, Lu Yun had refined 30 bottles of meridian pills, 20 bottles of life essence pills, and 50 bottles of body tempering pills. That is to say, although the shelves appeared very full, there weren't actually that many pills. That's because in order to make the shelves look full, only 1 meridian pill and life essence pill were placed in each bottle. Just run the business as usual. Don't invest too much time in it, so it won't interfere with your martial arts practice. Lu Yun instructed before he left Fly Cloud Pavilion. Alchemist Alliance, Bright Sun Palace. Steward Lu, I have come to receive my monthly pill refining quota. Upon saying this, Lu Yun placed his 3rd-grade alchemist badge and sumi bag on the table. Steward Lu glanced at the badge, then casually nodded. He picked up the sumi bag and turned to leave the counter, heading into the room behind him. Soon enough, he reappeared and returned the sumi bag to Lu Yun, reminding him, "Submit it to me within a month. If there is any delay, the corresponding pill merits will be deducted." "Thank you for the reminder." Lu Yun thanked him before heading to Sunview Palace and directly to the 3rd floor. After passing the 3rd-grade alchemist assessment, he had been granted a new alchemy room. Alchemy Room 318 would be his refining place for the next few months. There was still a large alchemy furnace, and the layout and equipment were not much different from Alchemy Room 208, except for an additional room specifically for meditation and cultivation. After a casual glance around, Lu Yun began to prepare for pill refining. "So, it's the Profound Origin pill." Looking at the pill recipe in his hand, Lu Yun smiled lightly. He started the furnace and began the pill refining process. Chapter 182. 3 months later. Refining 3rd-grade pills requires a variety of spirit herbs, and the time spent on refinement, purification, and pill condensation increases significantly. Even with Lu Yun's skill, he could only guarantee the production of 10 batches of pills per day. It took nearly 10 days to refine 100 Profound Origin pills for this month. With no time left to get new resources from Steward Lu, Lu Yun began to devote himself to running the Fly Cloud Pavilion. Under his management as a 3rd-grade alchemist, a variety of top-quality pills were soon available for sale at the Fly Cloud Pavilion, attracting more and more people to the shop. B0XO. Calm customers came in an endless stream, keeping Yunxian busy and grinning from ear to ear. Pills sold were converted into spirit crystals, which were then used to purchase spirit herbs for pill refining, and the cycle continued. As this cycle went on, the number of spirit crystals in Lu Yun's possession gradually increased. Similarly, the energy value on the panel also became abundant. In these days of pill refining and consumption, it was somewhat difficult not to accumulate wealth. With alchemy skills at a higher level, spirit crystals filling his pockets, and the energy value steadily increasing, time flowed like water in these plentiful and peaceful days. Before he knew it, 3 months had passed. One day, Di Ruoling swaggered into the Fly Cloud Pavilion, looking left and right. When she didn't see the person she had hoped to find, a hint of disappointment flashed in her eyes. Yunxian was attending to customers when he saw Di Ruoling entering, and a smile instantly appeared on his face. "Hee, Sister Ruoling, you're here. Just take a seat and I'll attend to you when I'm done." Ever since discovering that Lu Yun had opened the Fly Cloud Pavilion on Vermilion Bird Street, Di Ruoling had harassed him a few times. One thing led to another, and Yunxian naturally recognized Di Ruoling, his alchemist's senior sister. At this moment, Lu Yun was sitting cross-legged on the bed. Name: Lu Yun. Power: Flying Spirit Martial Academy Cultivation Technique. Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon True Qi Chapter Perceive Truth 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual Pre-Entry Astonishing Wind Saber Manual 4th Layer Breaking Extreme 100% Life Destruction Saber Techniques 1st Layer 1 Strike End Sins 100% Wind Thunder Manual 1st Layer Pursuing Wind Chasing Electricity 100% Innate Talent 7 Stars Martial Arts Ultimate True Qi Realm 12 times Refined Energy Value 12,553 Increases by 1 per day Conception Slaughter Conception First Rank 80% Pill Refining Technique 4th Level 15%. Next, I just need to accumulate enough energy value and then advance to Transforming Origin. He put away the panel and mused. With the Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon as my primary cultivation technique, the Astonishing Wind Saber Classic as my primary saber technique, Life Destruction Saber Techniques as my hidden saber skill, and the Wind Thunder Manual as my body technique, one have already reached the limits of my current realm in all 3 aspects, and so has my combat power. The main task now is to accumulate enough energy value and focus on improving the Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon and martial arts conception. Lu Yun has always understood that a strong physique and vast aggressive aura are the foundation of a martial artist. Saber techniques and body techniques are both based on the martial artist's own foundation. Without a strong physique and aura for support, even the most powerful saber techniques and body techniques would be useless in his hands. One could say that the essence of martial arts is the martial artists themselves. Whether the saber techniques and body techniques are strong enough will only play a role when in a close realm or facing an opponent with a small realm difference. Ultimately, it is still the martial artists themselves that determine strength. One would only turn to improve their saber techniques, body techniques, etc., to further stabilize and solidify their realm when they have reached the limits of their current realm and strive to build a supreme foundation. Of course, he has always practiced this way. When Lu Yun came out of the room and went downstairs, he saw the elegantly dressed Di Ruoling standing there. Upon seeing Lu Yun, Di Ruoling's eyes first showed a trace of happiness, then she teased. Lu, the great alchemist, the great genius, you have finally come out. Are you here to ask me for something? Lu Yun vaguely remembered that this girl had been bothering him with her quest to become a second-grade alchemist 2 months ago. It was strange that she didn't seek her grandfather, the 6th-grade alchemist, for advice and instead chose to seek his help as a 3rd-grade alchemist. During that time, Lu Yun was tormented for quite some time. It was only when she successfully passed the 2nd-grade alchemist assessment that it ended. Do I have to have a reason to see you? Di Ruoling pouted and said, Can't I just miss Yunxian and come here for a visit? Sure. Yunxian is a bit busy, so you can help him. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Yun bypassed her and prepared to leave, but Di Ruoling immediately stopped him. Wait! Miss Ruoling, what can I do for you? Where are you going? Back to the Martial Academy, of course. Lu Yun said in a displeased tone. Di Ruoling glared at Lu Yun and said coldly, The Alchemy Conference is approaching, and the alchemists representing Spirit Martial Prefecture will be leaving in 3 days. With that, she pushed past Lu Yun at the door and left the Fly Cloud Pavilion, quickly disappearing from his sight. What's the rush? One still have questions to ask. She just left without answering. Lu Yun was somewhat baffled by the agitated departure of Di Ruoling but did not dwell on it. Instead, he turned to Yunxian to give some instructions before leaving the Fly Cloud Pavilion. It had been 3 months since his last foray into the Myriad Phenomena Tower, and now that the turmoil had mostly died down, he planned to take advantage of the situation again before heading to Ling Province. Flying Spirit Martial Academy, Myriad Phenomena Tower. At this time, the Myriad Phenomena Square was relatively normal, with few people around and no need to queue up. Chapter 183. 3 months later _2 Lu Yun's body flashed, and he immediately rushed into the Myriad Phenomena Tower. The 20th floor was still a mysteriously spacious hall, and the opponent was still the silver-robed youth, who looked a lot like Lu Yun. "I hope you don't lose as thoroughly as the last time." With a swish, the silver-robed youth attacked Lu Yun first. A simple and unadorned saber strike seemed to possess boundless power, and in a flash, an incomparably solid saber chi fell from above Lu Yun's head. "It seems my slaughter conception isn't weaker than yours," Lu Yun said with a faint smile. Immediately, the blood-red lotus platform in his sea of consciousness, which was about to bloom its second petal, trembled violently. A vast and immense slaughter conception howled out, pouring madly into the long knife, and a crimson saber chi burst out instantly. B0XO. Calm 2 indistinguishable saber chi shattered in the air instantaneously. "Your slaughter conception has progressed rapidly. No wonder you dare to re-enter the tower in such a short time. However, since it's not as profound as mine, you're destined to lose." The silver-robed youth sneered sinisterly, and then he suddenly moved. The bloody red killing intent surrounding him seemed to be a world of its own, pressing down on Lu Yun. "Humph, the same slaughter conception, but the power isn't necessarily the same, slash." Lu Yun slashed through the air with one strike. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. 3 crimson saber chis broke through the air and attacked, and the world made of killing intent by the silver-robed youth collapsed instantly, and the pressure on Lu Yun's body no longer existed. Lu Yun spread out his figure, holding the knife and rushing out. The space here had sealed his dantian, preventing him from using the pure yang aura, but his powerful physique could not be sealed. Moreover, after pushing breaking extreme and one strike end sins to the limit, his understanding of saber techniques had greatly improved. Now, even an ordinary saber strike contained more saber cultivation, comprehension, and skill. TSK. As the two peaks collided, the power of the silver-robed youth's saber chi was obviously weakening. It seemed to be suppressed and weakened by something. Lu Yun, relying on his powerful body and possessing higher skills and saber cultivation understanding, quickly gained the upper hand and directly crushed the opponent. Bang! The white-scale purple-gold knife turned into a flowing light, slashing the opponent's saber chi open while directly sweeping past the opponent's head. The 20th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower was passed. Being strong in a single aspect doesn't make you truly powerful. Moreover, even if you've reached the peak of the first rank in slaughter conception, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are stronger than my 80% slaughter conception. Lu Yun smiled and stepped into the whirlpool portal that appeared in front of him. Yi Xingqian's face stiffened slightly when he received the news from the tower spirit. He passed so quickly. It's only been 3 months. Actually, based on Lu Yun's previous speed, it would take a whole 3 months to pass one floor, which was already considered slow. But starting from the 20th floor, the Myriad Phenomena Tower had changed. It tested the degree of comprehension of martial arts conception, not just as simple as cultivation and realm. Improving the martial arts conception so quickly in 3 months is already considered monstrous. Yi Xingqian shook his head slightly and sighed. He must be the only one who hasn't been promoted to Bright Moon Hall after passing the 20th floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Despite saying so, he had no intention of letting Lu Yun enter the Bright Moon Hall. The 21st floor of the Myriad Phenomena Tower. Stars again. Lu Yun stood in the dreamy starry sky and looked at the vast and boundless star river, feeling incredibly small. At this time, a storm swept out, and then a faint voice came from within. "You have 10 breaths of preparation time." Lu Yun ignored it and instead opened his arms, basking in the starry light and enjoying the fleeting time in the starry sky. The Star River rolled, and in the blink of an eye, Lu Yun found himself standing on a cliff peak. Lu Yun stood on a piece of bluestone, surveying the surroundings, anticipating in his heart. Was the opponent still focused on slaughter conception this time? What level had his slaughter conception reached? Just breaking into the second rank or already at the second rank peak? Or even higher? As Lu Yun was in deep thought, the mist at the top of the cliff suddenly rolled and transformed into a white-clothed youth who didn't look much different from Lu Yun. Congratulations, you successfully passed the 21st floor of Myriad Phenomena Tower. Likewise, I look forward to your ability to pass my challenge. The white-clothed youth spoke coldly, with neither a warm nor congratulatory tone. Without hesitation, Lu Yun unleashed his near first-rank peak slaughter conception, filling the air around him with killing intent. With the infusion of slaughter conception, a crimson blade light burst out from the white-scale purple-gold knife. 80% of first-rank slaughter conception was enough to pass the 20th floor. You're quite good. The white-clothed youth coldly exclaimed, waved his sleeve, and a saber similar to the white-scale purple-gold knife materialized out of thin air. The moment he gripped the saber, his aura abruptly changed, and an infinite amount of killing intent erupted, engulfing the top of the cliff in an instant. The sky, the mist, the starlight, everything disappeared. Only countless killing intent swirled around, and a terrifying aura was released. Second-rank peak slaughter conception. Lu Yun's face changed. At that moment, he felt overwhelmed from all directions. Even his proud, powerful body could only exercise about 80% of its power. The stronger one's martial arts conception is, the more intimidation and oppression they can unleash, thus enhancing their strength. Currently, Lu Yun was unable to mobilize the pure yang aura in his dantian. He could not use his powerful saber technique and must rely solely on his strong physical body to fight. You can try again next time, sneered the white-clothed youth. Whoosh! As his words fell, it seemed as if the entire world was pressing down on them. The killing intent around Lu Yun was instantly crushed, and a glimmer of saber aura cut through space, almost touching Lu Yun's head. Myriad Phenomena Tower's 21st floor, failed. Just one sub-level of difference, and yet I am overwhelmed in every aspect. Lu Yun sighed. As one's realm progresses, martial arts conception becomes more critical. After this, pure yang aura and slaughter conception must be upgraded simultaneously. Stepping out of the Myriad Phenomena Tower, Lu Yun glanced at the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall in the distance. There were still 108 shining golden names on it. However, he noticed that every time he came to the Myriad Phenomena Tower, the names of the last few people often changed. Huh! Lu Yun suddenly noticed two names on the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall he knew, ranked 106th and 108th. Meng Hongfei? Qin Yun? Meng Hongfei was one of the examiners who recruited new disciples in Cloudwater County 2 years ago and was responsible for guiding Lu Yun. As for Qin Yun, he was acquainted with him on the back mountain of the Martial Academy. At that time, he accidentally stumbled upon Qin Yun's match with Meng Hongfei, and they got to know each other in unusual circumstances. But so much time has passed. One wonder if he even remembers me? Lu Yun muttered to himself before his gaze fell on the Myriad Phenomena Jade Wall. Ranked 106th, Meng Hongfei, Myriad Phenomena Tower's 21st floor, persevered for 200 breaths of time. Ranked 107th, Fong Kuan, Myriad Phenomena Tower's 21st floor, persevered for 195 breaths of time. Ranked 108th, Qin Yun, Myriad Phenomena Tower's 21st floor, persevered for 170 breaths of time. So senior brother Qin is the last on the list. Interesting. Lu Yun suddenly thought that if one day he suddenly pushed Qin Yun out of the 108th place, it would be quite interesting. He had just managed to hold on for a dozen breaths on the 21st floor. To persevere for 170 breaths, he would need to increase his slaughter conception to about 50% of the second rank. However, the alchemy conference was approaching, so he would need to go to the capital of Ling province. He didn't know when he would return. Shaking his head slightly, Lu Yun turned around and left. After passing the 20th level of the Myriad Phenomena Tower and obtaining 13,000 contribution points, he quickly turned them into several 4th-grade pills after visiting the pill medicine building. Then, he went to the Internal Affairs Hall and collected the cultivation resources he hadn't received in several months in one go. Finally, he returned to Spirit Martial Prefecture City full of contentment. Chapter 184. First arrival at the State City at the central square of the Alchemist Alliance's Spirit Martial Prefecture branch. Chu Feng and Di Qing, 2 6th-grade alchemists, were already present. In addition, there were 5 other young alchemists, including Di Ruoling and Deng Yunhui. Di Ruoling had passed the 2nd-grade alchemist assessment 2 months ago, while Deng Yunhui, who had slightly better alchemy talents than Di Ruoling, had already received his 2nd-grade alchemist badge. At this moment, Lu Yun's gaze suddenly fell upon another young man in a white robe. B0XO. The young man was handsome and elegant, with a jade-like face and red lips. His slightly frail body made him look like a scholar, but the occasional gleam in his eyes could not be underestimated. Could this person be Yin Hualin, the president's personal disciple? About this person, Lu Yun had only heard about him. He was the most talented alchemist in Spirit Martial Prefecture and had long been a 3rd-grade alchemist. However, besides alchemy, Lu Yun had little to no interaction with him. It could be said that there were very few people in the vast Alchemist Alliance with whom Lu Yun had any relationship. From the badges on the chests of the other 2 young alchemists, Yin Hualin was the only 3rd-grade alchemist present. Besides, Yin Hualin also had considerable martial talent, already being in the late stage of the true Qi realm. Even though Di Ruoling, Deng Yunhui, and their peers were quite decent, they still fell short compared to Yin Hualin. Lu Yun was unaware that his joining the Alchemist Alliance had caused quite a stir and greatly motivated others. In any place and at any time, the competition among geniuses could only constantly break through their limits and create miracles through mutual rivalry. If not for Lu Yun, Yin Hualin would still be wandering in the middle stage of the true Qi realm, and Di Ruoling would still be proud of herself for passing the 1st-grade alchemist assessment. Seeing Lu Yun's leisurely pace, Di Ruoling quickly urged him. Lu Yun, hurry up, we're only waiting for you. Lu Yun smiled faintly, maintaining his pace, but in the blink of an eye, he had reached the others. Mr. Chairman, is it just us few? Lu Yun asked. As of now, there were only Lu Yun and Yin Hualin, the 3rd-grade alchemists, and Di Ruoling, Deng Yunhui, and the other 4 2nd-grade alchemists present, in addition to the 6th-grade alchemists Chu Feng and Di Qing. As you can see, only a few of us are going to the Ling province headquarters, Chu Feng said without any shame. The alchemy conference was primarily for 2nd and 3rd-grade alchemists under the age of 25. It was evident how far behind the alchemy level of Spirit Martial Prefecture was, considering so few participants were from the large branch. If not for Lu Yun, there would have only been Yin Hualin at the 3rd-grade alchemist level. Haha, get ready to depart. Chu Feng waved his hand, and the green gourd at his waist flew out. After hovering in the air for a few circles, it emanated a surge of spiritual light and grew rapidly, suspending itself above the ground. What a magical gourd! It can be used to store wine, pills, and even serve as a storage treasure. Lu Yun secretly observed as his mind became more active. You guys are lucky. This green jade gourd is the president's treasure, not easily used. Today you guys benefit from it. Di Qing laughed and landed gracefully on the gourd's waist. The enlarged green jade gourd was about 50 to 60 feet long and 20 feet wide, easily capable of carrying 8 people. Hold on tight. Chu Feng warned, and the green jade gourd immediately took off, stirring up a green wave before turning into a rainbow light and flying towards the sky. The speed is really fast, even slightly faster than the flying speed of the black boat. Lu Yun was filled with emotion as he sat on the green jade gourd, looking down at the disappearing county capital and the mountains and rivers drifting by, his heart pumping. At the same time, a surge of inexplicable excitement rose in his heart. Starting today, he would officially step out of Spirit Martial Prefecture and begin his magnificent martial arts journey. In less than a day, everyone had left Spirit Martial Prefecture. Be careful, as danger may arise at any moment outside the Spirit Martial Prefecture. Di Qing operated his true origin and shouted loudly before landing at the tail of the green jade gourd. Chu Feng was at the head of the green jade gourd, while Di Qing was at the tail, protecting Lu Yun and the others. Meanwhile, the green jade gourd continued to rise into the sky, attempting to use the clouds to cover its trail. Crackle! Thunder flashed, and the electric light slithered like snake. As they passed through the clouds, Lu Yun finally realized the fury and power, the ultimate forms of the four natural forces of thunder, water, fire, and wind. If it weren't for the energy barrier that was activated outside the green jade gourd, even Lu Yun's current powerful body wouldn't withstand. Chapter 185. First arrival at the State City _2. Looking at Di Ruoling still grabbing his sleeve and getting closer and closer, Lu Yun tilted his head and smiled. Hey, have you had enough of taking advantage? If you've had enough, please let go a bit. Humph, who's taking advantage of you? Isn't this giving you an opportunity to protect your sister? Di Ruoling pouted, not blushing or feeling embarrassed. Pfft. Lu Yun couldn't help but laugh lightly, gently pushing her away. With the president and Elder Di here, do you really need me, a mere true Qi realm martial artist, to protect you? Please try to find a better excuse next time. Upon hearing this, Di Ruoling's pretty face gradually flushed, and she turned her head to one side. The green jade gourd swiftly flew through the sky, with a gentle breeze blowing by, brushing past their ears and rippling across their hearts. B0XO. Calm. After an unknown amount of time, the air currents suddenly became chaotic. Then, a visible gust of gray wind swept wildly, and in the center of the wind column, thunder and lightning continually flashed, illuminating like a fierce thunderstorm striking a figure. At the same time, dazzling golden runes sparkled in the sky, gradually becoming brighter with the continuous bombardment of thunder and lightning. There's a powerful person undergoing a tribulation to advance to the rune seed realm. Let's take a detour to avoid disturbing them. Chu Feng's expression changed slightly, and he quickly controlled the green jade gourd to detour, not daring to approach the thunderstorm. Soon, the wind column dissolved, the thunder extinguished, and an agitated middle-aged man emerged. He looked ordinary, with no handsome appearance or tall figure. His black robe was slightly tattered, but his presence was very strong, even giving everyone a sense of spiritual oppression. Who are you? Chu Feng's eyes focused and immediately answered with a cupped fist salute. I am Chu Feng, the division president of the Spirit Martial Prefecture Alchemist Alliance. I'm on my way to Ling Province headquarters. I apologize for inadvertently passing through your tribulation site. The Alchemist Alliance? A smile appeared on the middle-aged man's face. So you are President Chu. 1am. An idle man named Lu Buiyuan. Idle man. That is, a martial artist who has not joined any forces, not holding any official position, and relying solely on their own cultivation. Lu Buiyuan, as an idle man, forcefully crossed the tribulation and condensed the rune seeds, causing everyone's hearts to clench. Chu Feng relaxed, chuckled, and said, So it's the famous unaffiliated expert Lu Buiyuan from White Cloud County. Nice to meet you. Haha, one just barely advanced to the rune seed realm and am by no means a powerhouse. In contrast, President Chu, your 6th grade peak alchemy status is well known throughout Ling Province, much more impressive than me, Lu Buiyuan replied. Listening to the two people praising each other, Lu Yun rolled his eyes. However, he couldn't help but be secretly amazed at the status and esteem of alchemists. Especially high-ranking alchemists like Chu Feng, even when facing a strong person with a full realm higher than themselves, they could still be on equal footing and even be respected by the other party. Haha, one just had a breakthrough and need to stabilize my realm a bit. I'll visit in the future. After exchanging pleasantries, Lu Boiwan's figure flashed, tearing through the lightning, turning into a ray of rainbow light and disappearing before everyone's eyes. The spot where thunder and lightning still flashed looked terrifying from afar. Let's go. Chu Feng took a deep breath, controlling the green jade gourd to continue on their journey. During the journey, Di Qing said to the others, Lu Buiyuan used to be a student at White Cloud Martial Arts Academy, but because of his talent, he was unable to advance to the True Qi realm in time and had to leave the academy. Later, due to a chance encounter, he soared to success, and now he has even successfully passed the tribulation and advanced to the Rune Seed realm. With poor innate talent, can one still reach higher martial arts realms? Di Ruoling was somewhat intrigued. In her view, one's innate talent determined the limit of a martial artist, so she, with her mere level 4 talent, was not particularly enthusiastic about martial arts. Di Qing said with a smile, while innate talent is essential and dictates one's future achievements, the path of martial arts is full of uncertainties. With amazing opportunities and an exceptional mindset, the future is limitless. On the contrary, if one only has talent and lacks any strong mentality, then even with extraordinary abilities, it's hard to reach the top. A hint of worry flashed in Di Qing's eyes. Linger, you've never been enthusiastic about martial arts, but you should understand that in order to attain a long life and everlasting youth, you must progress in martial arts. Otherwise, one day, when talents like Lu Yun still look as young as 20, you will have become old and gray. No worries, once one become a level 4 alchemist, I'll refine a few batches of stay young pills and eat them like candy. Di Ruoling replied carelessly, her gaze turning towards Lu Yun's handsome face imperceptibly for a moment. Perhaps one can't entirely depend on stay young pills. Without powerful martial arts as support, even with everlasting youth, a person's life would only last a short 100 years or so. A few days later, the green jade gourd broke through the clouds, gradually descending to a height of several 100 feet, slowly moving forward. As beautiful mountains, rivers, and vast plains passed by, a city covered in clouds soon appeared in their sight, its end nowhere to be seen. As the green jade gourd slowly descended, everyone jumped down to the ground, raising a cloud of dust. Lu Yun raised his head, scanning the magnificent city, and couldn't help but exclaim in awe at its vastness, which far exceeded his knowledge. In terms of grandeur and area, the city of Ling Province surpassed all the others he had seen in his 2 lives. This city is indeed worthy of being the heart of Ling Province, easily housing millions of people. Lu Yun commented, clicking his tongue in admiration. Di Ruoling excitedly clenched her little fists and shouted, Spirit Martial Prefecture Division must win! Spirit Martial Prefecture Division must win! Di Ruoling's sudden actions left everyone around her momentarily stunned. Glancing at the strange gazes gathered around them, Lu Yun and the others hurriedly walked away from Di Ruoling, maintaining a certain distance to show that they didn't know this girl. It was simply too embarrassing. Seeing this, Di Ruoling glanced at them disdainfully and strode towards the huge city of Ling Province. Di Qing smiled helplessly and turned to Chu Feng. President, there's still some time before the alchemy conference. Where should we go first? After a brief pause, Chu Feng glanced at Lu Yun and smiled. This time, we'll go straight to the headquarters. To the headquarters? Hearing this, Di Qing frowned slightly and, recalling past experiences at the alchemy conference, his expression turned sour. Yes, straight to the headquarters. One kind of missed those old guys from the other divisions. Chu Feng stroked his goatee and smiled. This alchemy conference will be the time for our spirit martial prefecture to completely redeem ourselves. It's about time. In every 5-year alchemy conference, our spirit martial prefecture has always been at the bottom, enduring laughter and ridicule from the other old guys. This time we must settle the score. Di Qing touched his grizzled beard, his gaze sweeping over Deng Yunhui, and said with great interest, "Not only do we have a dark horse at the 3rd grade alchemist level this time, but also at the 2nd grade level. The alchemy conference will be quite interesting." Chu Feng's eyes gleamed, and he suddenly said, "No, we shall stay in a tavern as usual and enter the venue when the alchemy conference begins." Upon hearing this, Di Qing's footsteps slowed. He glanced at his old friend and knew exactly what Chu Feng was thinking by the smile on his face. "You're planning to hustle? Ha ha ha, Di Qing, only you know me well." Chu Feng laughed heartily. "This year, I'll bet big with those old guys." Feeling slightly surprised, Di Qing raised an eyebrow before shaking his head. Old Chu is still the same, always scheming. Chapter 186. Black wooden piece passing through the bustling streets, they arrived at a place where several streets intersect. Before them was an extremely huge, magnificent, and spectacular building. A faint fragrance of pills lingered in the air. The words, "Alchemist Alliance," danced like dragons and phoenixes above the lofty entrance, shimmering with a faint golden light under the blazing sun. Passers-by couldn't help but pause for a moment, frequently casting reverent and envious glances at the building. For any martial artist, relying on pills was inevitable for healing wounds, restoring true origin, and breaking through realms. Thus, alchemists who could refine pills were naturally held in high esteem by martial artists. B0XO, COM the Alchemist Alliance, acting as the headquarters for all alchemists in Ling Province, was so prestigious that even Golden Core realm cultivators who were above the Rune Seed realm would act modestly here. After all, the alchemists inside the building possessed the power to summon more than a dozen Golden Core realm experts to their aid. Outside the magnificent entrance, esteemed alchemists came in and out, their conspicuous badges displayed on their chests, indicating their alchemist rank. Here, there were esteemed alchemists strutting around and no lowly martial artists roaming. This was the gathering place for the most respected alchemists in Ling Province. Here, this was also the largest spiritual pill production site within Ling Province. Standing on the street far from the entrance, Lu Yun looked up at the grand headquarters of the Alchemist Alliance and silently vowed, "Fire Seed, wait for me. What's so interesting about this place? Let's hurry up and explore other places." Di Ruoling, who was standing next to Lu Yun, urged him. "You don't understand. To know yourself and your enemy, you must observe them. I need to see if any powerful opponents could hinder my victory." Saying that, Lu Yun began scanning his surroundings. As the alchemy conference approached, the Alchemist Alliance became exceptionally lively. The competition in the conference was open to all alchemists under the age of 25. In addition to the alchemists from various prefectures who had arrived, many alchemists within Ling Province who hadn't joined the Alchemist Alliance had also come here. In that case, let's go in and have a look. There's no use standing around here. Glancing at Lu Yun, Di Ruoling strode towards the grand hall of the Alchemist Alliance with a lively pace. Her long hair, bound by a purple ribbon, hung down to her buttocks. With her every bouncing step, it swung and gently slapped her round, perky buttocks. Seemingly noticing Lu Yun hadn't followed, Di Ruoling turned her head, her bright eyes blinked, and she flashed a smile. Lu Yun thought his peeping had been discovered, and he became flustered, quickly withdrawing his gaze. At the same time, a ripple of emotions rose in his heart. "Why are you just standing there? Aren't you coming?" Looking at that beautiful, charming face, Lu Yun silently recited the Ice Heart spell and immediately caught up with her. Upon stepping through the grand entrance of the Alchemist Alliance, a rich fragrance of pills wafted into their nostrils, making them unable to resist taking a deep breath, which instantly lifted their spirits. The Alchemist Alliance was incredibly vast, and upon entering the entrance, they saw roads leading to 3 separate areas. Standing at the entrance, Lu Yun observed the layout and scenery of the surrounding areas. To the east was a chaotic and complex area, resembling a market from his past life, with various platforms set up, behind which sat alchemists wearing badges. Above the platforms were an assortment of spirit herbs and various jade bottles containing pills, and even some ancient scrolls. Just by looking at the scene, Lu Yun knew it was a simple trading area. To the west was an equally bustling area, with many alchemists currently gathered there, exchanging and sharing experiences with one another. Some were even refining pills on the spot under the guidance of alchemists who seemed to have quite high ranks, diligently refining pills. Seeing these 2 areas alone, Lu Yun knew this place was a deserved gathering place for all alchemists in Ling Province. Besides being a place to exchange experiences, there was an area for trade to obtain what they needed. Its functionality far surpassed the Spirit Martial Prefecture branch. Directly ahead of the entrance to the north was a large hall. Compared to the eastern and western areas, this hall appeared to be more tranquil and solemn. At a glance, many guards could be seen standing on both sides of the road leading to the large hall. Each of them had formidable auras, and they were at least martial artists in the late stage of the true Qi realm. Lu Yun couldn't help but squint his eyes. Martial artists in the late stage of the true Qi realm would, at the very least, hold the rank of captain in a regular army. In the headquarters of the Alchemist Alliance, these accomplished warriors were merely gatekeepers, which seemed quite extravagant. "Aren't you going to know your enemy? Over there, many alchemists are exchanging information. We could check it out." Di Ruoling pointed to the western area and spoke to Lu Yun. Lu Yun shook his head slightly, looking towards the trading area in the east, and said with a smile, "No, I've found a more interesting place." Strolling leisurely to the trading area, Lu Yun moved amongst the platforms, his gaze curiously observing the rare and exotic spirit herbs and other precious items placed on the platforms. The wide variety of items left Lu Yun feeling a bit overwhelmed for a moment, even secretly entertaining thoughts of robbery in his heart. If he could refine all the precious spirit herbs and pills here, his energy level would likely skyrocket to an unimaginable extent. Of course, this was merely a thought in his heart. Chapter 187. Black Wooden Piece _2 The salespeople sitting behind the platform were all highly respected alchemists, leisurely sitting in their chairs, occasionally glancing at people passing by from the aisle. If they noticed someone with generous spending or potential purchase intent, they would stand up to engage in a brief conversation. However, they mostly spent their time lying on wooden chairs, looking relaxed. After all, they were noble alchemists, not ordinary merchants who needed to solicit customers. In addition to that, the precious treasures displayed on their platforms required corresponding spiritual materials or pills for exchange. To alchemists, gold and silver treasures were worthless, and spirit crystals were just ordinary. B0XO. Calm as Lu Yun slowly walked by, he broadened his horizons while envisioning intense battles in his mind, refining his state of mind. When he came to a rather bustling area, Lu Yun's eyes were immediately attracted to a transparent jade bottle. Inside the jade bottle, there was a red flame, the faintly rolling breath making the temperature around it noticeably higher than in other areas. It was not just Lu Yun. Many alchemists had gathered here, mostly attracted by the rising flame in the transparent jade bottle. The flame was a fire seed, essential for a fourth-grade alchemist. Fire seeds were categorized into natural tinder and beast-born fire seed. Natural tinder was an extremely precious treasure, rarely seen in the world. Once it appeared, it would inevitably cause fierce competition. Not only was natural tinder useful for alchemists, but it also held great appeal to martial artists. As for beast-born fire seeds, they were born from demon beasts, generally appearing in those of fourth rank or higher, such as flaming frenzied lions and other fire-attributed demon beasts. The fire seed in front of everyone was a beast-born fire seed. Even beast-born fire seeds were precious, and the gathered alchemists eagerly eyed them. Some who believed their financial status was up to par took turns stepping forward to inquire. However, the stall owner was asking for too high a price, demanding either a precious high-grade pili recipe or a pill above 5th grade. As only 2nd and 3rd grade alchemists were present, they couldn't afford such a price, so they shook their heads and left one by one. After all, alchemists who could afford high-grade pill recipes or 5th grade pills would hardly lack a single fire seed. It seems you really like this fire seed. Di Ruoling, who was beside Lu Yun, noticed that he was staring at the jade bottle containing the fire seed and spoke softly. Lu Yun touched his chin, furrowed his brows slightly in contemplation, then shook his head. I like it, but it's useless if I can't afford it. How about I exchange it for you? Lu Yun turned his head, just in time to see Di Ruoling looking at him with a beaming smile. Although their eye contact lasted only a few seconds, Lu Yun could tell that the girl didn't seem to be joking. Seeing that Lu Yun didn't answer for a while, Di Ruoling's eyebrows knit together. Be decisive. If you like it, just nod. Forget it, I still prefer the fire seed reward for the alchemy conference champion. It's said that fire seed is likely to be a natural tinder, which is much more advanced than this beastborn fire seed. Only a natural tinder is worthy of me. Lu Yun shook his head, reluctantly withdrew his gaze, and walked towards other parts of the trading area. If you like it, just say you like it. Di Ruoling watched Lu Yun's departing figure and pursed her lips disdainfully. So they continued to wander around the trading area, where Lu Yun experienced multiple instances of mental refinement. As he was about to leave the trading area, Lu Yun's footsteps suddenly stopped beside a platform. On the stone platform were some scattered spirit herbs, some low-grade pills, and some strange items. The stall owner was a slim, pretty woman. Due to the low quality and common nature of the spirit herbs on her platform, she rarely had customers. Finally seeing Lu Yun stopping by her stall again, the woman did not let this opportunity pass her by. A smile appeared on her delicate face as she asked, "Master, what do you need?" "Master." Lu Yun's eyes swept over the badge with 3 pill patterns on his chest and then glanced at the woman's not-so-full chest, where there was also a copper badge with a single pill pattern. Suddenly he understood. I am only a 3rd-grade alchemist, and do not deserve to be called a master. Besides, I am just browsing casually. Ha ha ha, of course you can. Feel free to look around. Despite her disappointment, the pretty woman still wore a smile on her face. Her gaze then moved to Di Ruoling. At this, Di Ruoling shook her head with a smile, indicating that she had come with Lu Yun and had no intention of looking at or exchanging anything. Lu Yun pretended to scan the items on the stone platform, examining one jade bottle after another, and looked over those low-grade spirit herbs. Naturally, these things were not of interest to him. Even through refinement, they would not increase his energy by much. Finally, in the slightly disappointed eyes of the pretty woman, Lu Yun stopped. He casually picked up a pitch-black wooden piece and ran his fingers over it, a cool and refreshing sensation spreading through his mind. Then he held it close to his nose and sniffed, a faint mysterious fragrance wafting into his nostrils. As he played with the black wooden piece, Lu Yun's eyebrows furrowed and relaxed from time to time, making the pretty woman at his side feel uneasy. After carefully examining it for a while, Lu Yun finally looked up and smiled at the woman whose emotions had been stirred by him, saying, "How do you want to exchange this item?" Upon hearing this, the pretty woman perked up. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and laughed sheepishly. "I don't know what this item is, nor do one know its purpose. But if it's valued by an alchemist like you, it must be worth something. However, I'm not greedy, just 1 bottle of meridian pills and 1 bottle of profound origin pills will do." Glancing at her, Lu Yun nodded. The woman had a good eye and knew her limit. An item valued by a 3rd-grade alchemist must be extraordinary. A bottle of meridian pills and a bottle of profound origin pills could easily be afforded by any third-grade alchemist. However, Lu Yun was not an ordinary third-grade alchemist. Turning his head, he gave Di Ruoling a slight smile, saying, "I'm a bit short on hand, you." Before Lu Yun could finish speaking, Di Ruoling had already produced 2 jade bottles and threw them to the pretty woman, saying, "2 bottles of profound origin pills. Here you go." The pretty woman quickly caught the jade bottles, her joy evident on her face. The total value of all the items on her stall was only about the same as these 2 bottles of profound origin pills. After verifying their authenticity, she hurriedly bowed to Lu Yun and Di Ruoling as they turned to leave. After leaving the exchange area, Lu Yun was still studying the black wooden piece. After a while, he still couldn't find anything special about it and couldn't help but frown. As if not giving up, he sniffed it again, and the faint mysterious fragrance revitalized his spirit. "You're the only one who would consider this pitch-black thing a treasure," Di Ruoling couldn't help but mock. "What do you know? According to my intuition, this thing is definitely a treasure. Just smell it, you'll find it quite fragrant." Having said that, Lu Yun put the black wooden piece in front of Di Ruoling's delicate nose. Seeing the young man's serious expression, Di Ruoling didn't want to discourage him, so she cooperatively sniffed. As expected, a faint mysterious fragrance filled her nostrils, and she couldn't help but sniff again. "What do you think?" Lu Yun asked with a smile. Her bright eyes turned, and after looking at Lu Yun for a moment she said with a smile, "Indeed, it has a peculiar scent, somewhat like a pill fragrance." Immediately, she seemed to think of something and added, "Could this thing have been made from discarded pill residue?" "Pill? Pill?" As Lu Yun heard this, his eyes lit up. Without any desire to continue browsing, he immediately turned and left. Chapter 188. Refinement, Breakthrough. In the spacious room, Lu Yun looked at the black wooden piece in front of him with delight. The pure yang aura surged out and quickly enveloped it. Following the method of refining pills and spirit grass, Lu Yun began refining the mysterious blackwood piece. As expected, soon, the room was filled with a flickering green light, and a powerful energy burst out from the blackwood piece, gradually being converted into energy values by Lu Yun's refinement. "I've indeed found a treasure this time. B0XO. Calm. Feeling the rapidly increasing energy values on the panel, Lu Yun was ecstatic and, at the same time, increased the output of the pure yang aura to speed up the refining process. As it was refined, the blackwood piece gradually revealed its true appearance. The whole piece was green, with faint ripples on the surface, reminiscent of a lake with splashing waves. As the refining process continued, a faint fragrance filled the room. Well, it turns out to be the blue ocean tidewood. I'm almost reluctant to refine you into energy values." While speaking, Lu Yun's pure yang aura burst forth once again, and the refining speed increased even further. The blue ocean tidewood is a heaven and earth treasure with the Yin attribute and is the main ingredient for making the blue ocean tide pill. Even for a 6th-grade alchemist, it holds great attraction. However, to Lu Yun, no heaven and earth treasure could compare to the solidity of energy values. An hour later, the large piece of blue ocean tide wood had been thoroughly refined, with not even a trace left behind. Plus 15,000 energy value. When he left the Martial Academy, he exchanged 5 bottles of different level 4 pills, and after refining all of them, his energy value soared to 8,300. After refining the blue ocean tide wood, his energy value soared once again, breaking the 20,000 mark for the first time. Name: Lu Yun. Power: Flying Spirit. Martial Academy. Cultivation Technique: Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon. True Chi Chapter: Perceive Truth. 10,000 Suns. Saint Heart Manual. Pre-entry: Astonishing Wind Saber Manual. 4th level. Breaking Extreme 100%. Life Destruction Saber Techniques. 1st level. One Strike End Sins 100%. Wind Thunder Manual. 1st level. Pursuing Wind and Thunder. 100%. Innate Talent: 7 stars martial arts, true Qi realm limit 12 refinements, energy value, 23,300 automatically increases by 1 every day, conception, slaughter conception, first rank 80%. Alchemy technique, level 4, 3%. Lu Yun looked at the information on the panel, feeling a bit excited. Because he was about to break through to the transforming origin realm. Originally, according to his plan, he would accumulate energy value for some time, and then break through in one fell swoop. Unexpectedly, due to a twist of fate, he obtained the blue ocean tide wood. After refining it, his energy value broke the 20,000 mark in one swoop. With such a massive amount of energy value, Lu Yun naturally wouldn't continue to wait. First, fuse the 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual and the Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon, and then transform the Pure Yang Aggressive Aura into the Pure Yang Aura Origin. Having made up his mind, Lu Yun focused on the 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual and began to upgrade it. Energy value sharply decreased by 1,000. The next instant, a vast energy emerged within Lu Yun's body, constantly washing and cleansing his flesh. He could feel every single bone in his body becoming stronger, and the cells that made up his flesh were also constantly transforming. At this moment, Lu Yun was in a state of emptiness, which was extremely profound, as if he were sitting under a Bodhi tree, falling into a deep epiphany. In his mind, the image of a gray figure appeared, practicing the 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual in an incredibly hot volcano. As he practiced, every breath was accompanied by the eruption of magma and volcanic upheaval. Sunrise and sunset, spring coming and autumn leaving. In the scorching magma, the gray figure's radiance became brighter and brighter, transforming into a golden beam shimmering with golden light. Chirp! With a light cry, the golden beam soared into the sky, and the volcano erupted completely, with the scorching magma shooting thousands of feet into the air. Cultivation technique. 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual, entry level, can be fused. No wonder this technique can be cultivated into the gold body realm. Just bringing it to the entry level has already changed the quality of my flesh. Lu Yun's eyes were filled with blood red, as if boiling magma was surging within them. At the same time, as the 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual reached the entry level, he felt that the pure yang aura within his dantian was gradually changing, transforming into another kind of powerful and aggressive energy. Upon sensing this, Lu Yun immediately focused his attention and looked into his dantian. The fire attribute power in the world was gathering towards his body. Following his skin and pores, it entered his body and finally gathered at the dantian location. Instantly, the pure yang aggressive aura merged with this fire attribute power, and began to transform into another level of power. This new power, with its scorching heat, pushed apart the pure yang aggressive aura in the dantian, gathering at the bottom, emitting a hot breath with a faint halo. Although there was no outline to speak of, it was like a powerful sun about to fall into a volcano. This was the 10,000 Suns aggressive aura that had been transformed after the 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual reached the entry level. To advance from the true Qi realm to the transforming origin realm, a martial artist would cultivate a technique with attributes similar to their own true Qi, thus completing the transformation of their Qi. The moment the first strand of aggressive aura appeared in Lu Yun's body, he had already completed the breakthrough from the true Qi realm to the transforming origin realm. As time passed, more and more 10,000 Suns aggressive aura gathered in his dantian, and the outline of the energy, similar to a powerful sun, became clearer and clearer. Lu Yun withdrew his attention and focused on the panel again. The fusion panel for the Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon opened up. Chapter 189. Refinement Breakthrough. The Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon and the 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual can be fused, and fusion requires a consumption of 15,000 energy values. Upon seeing this, Lu Yun's brows slightly furrowed. After a brief moment of contemplation, His expression gradually softened. The 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual consists of 3 layers and can be practiced up to the Golden Body realm. It only requires 15,000 energy values to fuse, meaning the real consumption isn't that significant. After all, once fused, every level of the 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual needs to be deduced and improved, and then fused with the pure Yang martial art canon. This would require a significant amount of energy value. B0XO. Com. If the 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual were not one of the top cultivation techniques, the energy values consumed in deduction and fusion would probably be higher. Having realized this, Lu Yun began to initiate the fusion. Focusing his mind. The moment energy values sharply decreased, the silhouette in Lu Yun's mind appeared again. This time, Lu Yun faintly felt that the gray figure's facial features and body shape were somewhat similar to his own. In an excellent cultivation environment, the figure began to comprehend the mysteries of the 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual. They attempted to modify and enhance their original base, using it to deduce the subsequent techniques of the pure Yang martial arts canon. As time slowly elapsed, the figure that closely resembled Lu Yun transformed from a youth to a strong man. A powerful cultivation technique, after generations of painstaking efforts and improvements, was gradually enhanced. The figure in his mind, using the pure Yang martial art canon as the basis and with the help of the 10,000 Suns Saint Heart Manual, managed to deduce and perfect it, eventually fully integrating it into the pure Yang martial art canon. Name: Lu Yun Cultivation Technique. Pure Yang Martial Art Canon, total of 6 layers, Enter Martial Chapter, Meridian Channel Chapter, True Chi Chapter, Transforming Origin Chapter, Origin Fluid Chapter, Golden Body Chapter, Current Progress. 4th layer, Transforming Origin Chapter, Entry Level 1%. Energy Value 7,301 increase per day automatically. When he saw that the pure Yang martial arts canon on the panel had indeed been deduced to the 6th volume, Lu Yun suddenly opened his eyes, an inexplicable smile on his face. Next, before advancing to the Rune Seed realm, he no longer needed to worry about cultivation technique. All he needed to do was focus on accumulating energy values. Just as Lu Yun was excited, an unexpected incident suddenly occurred. There seemed to be 2 different types of aura origins existing within his dantian, like 2 sworn enemies ready to unleash a fierce attack at any moment. However, Lu Yun quickly intervened. Under his control, the 2 aura origins each found a suitable position within the dantian, maintaining a state of mutual non-interference. Though the properties are close, they are, after all, 2 different types of aura origins, destined not to be able to coexist in the dantian. The best solution is to strengthen the pure Yang aura origin and swallow the 10,000 Suns aura origin. As soon as he thought, 2,000 energy values disappeared. Name: Lu Yun Cultivation Technique. Pure Yang Martial Arts Canon, Transforming Origin Chapter, Entry Level 51%. Martial Arts. Early stage of Transforming Origin Realm. Energy Value: 5,302 increase per day automatically. He once again focused his mind and looked inward at his dantian. At this moment, the pure Yang aggressive aura was suspended in the sky, occupying the majority of the dantian space. The newly formed pure Yang aura origin and 10,000 Suns aura origin were located below. The 3 forces, similar in attribute but different in power and essence, shone like 3 dazzling suns. Among them, the sun at the uppermost part, which was formed by the pure Yang aggressive aura, gradually began to diminish. At the bottom of the dantian, the sun formed by the pure Yang aura origin gradually grew stronger, starting to equal the existing space. Another sun, formed by the 10,000 Suns aura origin, was shaking violently. If it were not for Lu Yun controlling it, it would have already begun to revolt. About an hour later, the sun formed by the pure Yang aura origin grew larger, and its radiating aura became stronger. Then, Lu Yun released his control over these two aura origins. Soon, the sun formed by the pure yang aura origin, resembling a famished beast, spotted a delicious food and transformed into a golden dragon, pouncing towards the 10,000 suns aura origin. Facing such a threat, the 10,000 suns aura origin would naturally not surrender without a fight. It transformed into a golden snake, launching a vigorous counterattack. Boom! The moment the two forces collided, a tremendous turbulence abruptly erupted. Luckily, Lu Yun's dantian, after undergoing numerous tempering, was extremely sturdy. The energy that burst out could not shake it in the slightest. Under Lu Yun's inner view, the dragon and snake clashed and fought continuously. Gradually, the pure yang aura origin started to gain the upper hand and began to swallow the 10,000 suns aura origin. The pure yang aura origin was naturally more robust, and after the augmentation with the energy values, it occupied half of the dantian. Swallowing the lesser in number and weaker 10,000 suns origin naturally was not a difficult task. It's only a matter of time. Not long after, the pure yang strong origin was completely devoured and transformed. A large sun rises, producing a burst of brilliant light. Another sun, made of solid gold, slowly descends. The radiance and energy emitted from both intertwine, merging and transforming each other. In the process, an intense heat pulses, causing the starry sky in the dantian to tremble slightly, like it might boil over at any moment. Lu Yun's consciousness slowly withdraws from the dantian, returning to the panel. Half of my pure yang aggressive aura has been transformed into aura origin. I must completely transform it. Otherwise, in my current state, it's hard to unleash my full strength against others. Immediately after, there's a sharp decrease in the energy value. In his mind, Lu Yun once again experiences the process of the pure yang martial canon origin transformation chapter advancing from entry level to small achievement. Name: Lu Yun Cultivation Technique. Pure Yang Martial Canon, Transforming Origin Chapter, Small Achievement 1%. Martial Arts. Middle Phase of Transforming Origin Realm, Energy Value, 3,300, it increases by 2 every day. The moment cultivation technique makes a breakthrough, Lu Yun's realm is smoothly advanced to the middle stage of the Transforming Origin Realm. At the same time, the pure yang aggressive aura is fully transformed into aura origin. In the dantian, all that's left is a single most yang and enigmatic force, pure yang strong origin. The pure yang strong origin is much stronger and more refined, making the dantian seem far broader. Next, it absorbs the heavenly and earthly spiritual qi, transforming it into aura origin. When the dantian is filled again, it will reach the state of perfection. As the cultivation technique operates, spiritual qi flows from heaven and earth into the body, transforming into streams of faint mist that gather in the dantian. The pure yang strong origin, like a miniature sun, slowly rises, devouring and refining these faint mists, developing its own strength. In the adjacent living room, Deng Yunhui and the others look towards Lu Yun's room without making an appointment. Their expressions slightly change as they meet each other's eyes. That's Lu Yun's room? Yes, he went straight back to his room after coming back from the Alchemist Union. If I'm not mistaken, his cultivation has made another breakthrough. Judging from this commotion, it's probably not as simple as a normal breakthrough. Exchanging words with each other, they feel both amazed and anxious about the sensation caused by Lu Yun's breakthrough. Time slowly progresses, Lu Yun never comes out, the ripples emanating from his room don't stop, albeit not being as strong as before. In a blink, several days pass by. In the room, he finally finishes cultivation. Name: Lu Yun Power, Flying Spirit Martial Academy Cultivation Technique. Pure Yang Martial Canon, Transforming Origin Chapter, Small Achievement 61%, Astonishing Wind Extreme Saber Manual, 4th Level, Breaking Extreme 100%, Life Destruction Saber Techniques, First Level, One Strike Ends Sins 100%, Wind Thunder Manual, First Level, Chasing Wind at Lightning Speed. ILO%. Innate Talent, 7 stars, Martial Arts. Mid-phase of the Transforming Origin Realm, Energy Value, 6, increases by 2 every day. Conception, Slaughter Conception, First Rank 80%. Pill Refining Technique, Level 4, 2%. Looking at the near-zero energy value on the panel, Lu Yun knows he has to continue working hard and rushing about in the future. With his 7-star innate talent, he cultivated day and night for 5 days, merely improving the pure Yang martial canon Transforming Origin chapter by 6 steps. If there's no energy value, it's uncertain as to when it would be fully cultivated. Moreover, he can't spend all his time on the pure Yang martial canon. Whether it's the Astonishing Wind Extreme Saber Manual, the Life Destruction Saber Techniques, or the Wind Thunder Manual, they all need his cultivation. In addition, the martial arts conception also needs to continue advancing. After such calculations, he completely gives up his idea of cultivating himself. Chapter 190. The bet. The convention begins in the bustling and lively streets. Chu Feng led Lu Yun and his party towards the towering hall visible from a distance. Along the way, Lu Yun noticed that the main streets leading to the Alchemist Alliance had fully armed soldiers on patrol and guard. The black-armored commanders were constantly wandering from one guard post to another. Their unintentionally released powerful aura and oppressive presence made countless people tremble in fear. The Alchemy Conference, held by the Alchemist Alliance every 5 years, was a grand event that attracted countless people. Among these crowds, it was not impossible for some evil cult members to infiltrate the event. Updated on B0X and 0VL. Today was the day of the Alchemy Conference, when the busiest and most complex mix of people would be present, and the most convenient day for the evil cult forces to infiltrate. Taking advantage of such a situation and launching suicidal attacks, these weaker martial arts alchemists would undoubtedly become lambs to the slaughter. Thus, deploying a large army to prevent this from happening was only natural. Following the flow of people, they slowly walked through the streets until the enormous Alchemist Alliance came into view. In the sky above the grand entrance, 2 Golden Body Realm experts were quietly seated in the void, occasionally releasing a wave of spiritual power to sweep across the crowded entrance. Even Golden Body Realm experts are mobilized. Isn't this a bit overkill? Lu Yun couldn't help but exclaim as he withdrew his gaze from the 2 powerful figures in the void. Overkill. Di Qing shook his head, his expression serious. The reason you think sending 2 Golden Body Realm experts to guard this place is redundant is because you don't know about the incident that happened more than 50 years ago. A group of at least Origin Fluid Realm Death Warriors infiltrated the alchemist community, and immediately erupted after the start of the Alchemy Conference. Although the alchemists who attended the conference were talented, they were only good at alchemy, and their martial arts realm was very low. They couldn't resist at all. Within a dozen breaths, a third of the alchemist's talents fell victim to the vicious hands. It was since then that the already lagging alchemy level of Ling Province plummeted to an unprecedented low and only recently started to recover. Hearing about this past event, Deng Yunhui, Di Ruoling, and others were all greatly surprised. Lu Yun's heart tightened as he thought about the terrifying forces behind this incident and their determination to weaken Ling Province's alchemy level by using a group of at least Origin Fluid Realm Death Warriors. Everyone squeezed into the crowd, slowly making their way towards the entrance. At this time, a commotion suddenly started not far behind them, and the surrounding gazes were simultaneously cast in its direction. The people in front also stopped, and Lu Yun and his party were squeezed in the middle, unable to move forward or backward. What a miscalculation! Chu Feng touched his goatee and sighed helplessly. Di Qing cast a resentful glance at him and said, "It's all your fault, insisting on staying outside. Now we can't even get in the entrance. When the other old guys see this, we'll be laughed at. Lu Yun, with his hands behind his back, looked interestedly at these alchemists from all over Ling province. The badges on their chests mostly had only one pill pattern, while a small number had 2 or 3. There were even a few people with silver badges adorned with 4 pill patterns. Without a doubt, these 4th-grade alchemists were all over 25 years old, and they came to the Alchemist Alliance either to bring their younger generation or to participate in this once every 5 years grand event. Then, Lu Yun finally discovered the source of the commotion. It was a girl around 16 or 17 years old, dressed in a purple palace dress with purple gold patterns on the edges. A purple sash was worn around her slender waist, accentuating her enchanting figure. A shallow smile graced her delicate, jade-like face, giving off an elegant and ladylike demeanor, but Lu Yun noticed a hint of mischievousness in her watery eyes. Obviously, she was not a quiet type. One should not judge a person by their appearance, especially a woman. Their true character could often be vastly different from their looks. Lu Yun understood this well, and thus, he tended not to underestimate any woman. Most people would focus their attention on the palace-dressed girl, easily overlooking the beautiful woman with the sword behind her. Or rather, the sword-wielding beauty deliberately lowered her presence, blending in as she followed closely behind the girl. As soon as she noticed Lu Yun's gaze, a pair of beautiful eyes like water instantly glanced over. The clear and cold oppressive feeling made Lu Yun involuntarily shiver, prompting him to immediately withdraw his gaze. This woman's strength is terrifying. Although she may not be as powerful as the 2 Golden Body Realm experts in the void, she won't be much weaker. Lu Yun thought to himself. With just one glance, she was able to make him feel a strong pressure, something that only a Golden Body Realm expert could do. What a beautiful girl! Why did you stop looking? Deruoling, seeing that Lu Yun had withdrawn his gaze, teased slyly. Lu Yun smiled faintly, not bothering to respond to her teasing. Oh, such a beautiful little girl, so cute. I want to hold her in the palm of my hand, feed her pills as candy every day. Observing the purple palace-dressed girl slowly approaching, the crowd around them made way and sighed as they watched her walk away, frequently casting their gazes in her direction. Hee, this is Princess Chu Yuanyao, the garrison commander's daughter. I heard that her teacher is the president of the Alliance, Grandmaster Qin Ming, and she has no shortage of cultivation technique spirit crystals or pills. Her appearance here must be to participate in the alchemy conference. Chapter 191. Stakes. The conference begins _2, and the beautiful woman beside her is none other than the formidable Golden Body Realm expert Chu Lingxue. Among the gathered alchemists, there were naturally those with vast experience and knowledge, who recognized the 2 women's identities at just a glance. To have a Golden Body Realm expert as a personal bodyguard, the garrison commander must truly dote on his daughter. However, Chu Yuanyao only looks to be 16 or 17, yet she's already a 3rd-grade alchemist. This level of talent is truly terrifying. Being taken as an apprentice by President Qin Ming is not only because she's the garrison commander Chu Feng's precious daughter, it's also because of her extremely high innate talent for alchemy. It's said that 2 years ago, she already reached the 3rd-grade alchemist level. She's probably aiming for the champion reward at this alchemy conference. Standing among the crowd, Lu Yun chuckled softly after hearing this conversation. Updated on B0x0VL. He couldn't care less about the champion of the 2nd-grade alchemist category, but when it came to the 3rd-grade alchemist category, there would only be one champion, himself. As Chu Yuanyao entered the Alchemist Alliance unhindered, the once crowded flow of people streamed into the entrance like water. Lu Yun and the others followed the flow of people and gradually entered the Alchemist Alliance. The space around them immediately became more spacious. Ha, you youngsters should follow the flow of people here and finish your registration. Us 2 old men will go chat with the other old folks. With a slight move of their bodies, Chu Feng and Di Qing disappeared into the crowd. The main hall of the Northern District was the registration site for the alchemists participating in this competition. To participate in the alchemy conference, one must meet two conditions: be under 25 years old and be at least a second-grade alchemist. With these two simple criteria, more than 90% of alchemists were eliminated from the competition. Of course, the other alchemists knew this, but it didn't stop them from watching the once every 5 years grand event of the Ling Province's alchemist community. After completing a simple registration of their identities and enrollment information in the main hall, Lu Yun and the others were led to a vast square. At this time, many young people had gathered in the square, with the lowest being second-grade alchemists. What slightly surprised Lu Yun was that the number of third-grade alchemists was quite high, not much less than the second-grade alchemists. There were almost 400 second-grade alchemists and about 250 to 60 third-grade alchemists. His gaze scanned swiftly over the numerous third-grade alchemists, each of them appearing high-spirited and full of confidence. Lu Yun just smiled at their demeanor. He took special notice of Chu Yuanyao, whom he had seen outside the gate earlier, and a few other young alchemists who appeared rather extraordinary. At his current level, although he couldn't accurately determine their skill, he could vaguely sense some powerful presences. Upon the arrival of a new group, most of the alchemists stopped their conversations and briefly glanced at Lu Yun and the others. When they saw the third-grade badge on Lu Yun's chest, their expressions became slightly startled. Lu Yun currently appeared to be only around 14 or 15 years old, but he was already a third-grade alchemist. Such talent could only be matched by Qin Ming's cherished disciple among the whole competition. Chu Yuanyao, who was seated in a corner but still the center of attention, also glanced at Lu Yun. When she saw the badge with 3 pill patterns on his chest, her beautiful eyes sparkled thoughtfully. Lu Yun looked up slightly, only to find that the square was surrounded by rows of gradually rising seats which were filled with thousands of people. "He, old Chu, is this brat your trump card from Spirit Martial Prefecture?" On a high platform to the left of the square, several dozen elders were seated. Chu Feng and Di Qing were sitting in a relatively secluded corner, and the voice came from a white-haired, bearded old man not far from them. Chu Feng's eyes narrowed slightly, and he chuckled softly, "Hee, not exactly a trump card, but the kid is our prefecture's future. He's not even 14 yet. This year is just to give him some experience, but who knows what will happen in the next 5 years." Di Qing's aged eyes gleamed with amusement, sensing that his partner was about to pull off a trick. As expected, upon hearing Chu Feng's words, the white-haired old man laughed. "The future is full of uncertainties, so why don't we continue the tradition of our previous meetings?" Chu Feng immediately shook his head. "No way, old Qian, you will not get anything from me this time. A small bet for fun, isn't it? Are you, as the division president, really so reluctant to part with a single spiritual object?" The white-haired old man surnamed Qian, named Yu, was the president of White Cloud County's division. He tried to persuade Chu Feng. "Besides, our division is similar to yours, having only 2 third-grade alchemists and 4 second-grade alchemists. Both sides are evenly matched, so neither will suffer any losses." There's some truth to that, but, seeing Chu Feng begin to waver, Qian Yu quickly glanced at Lu Yun and the others and pressed on. "I see that one of them is your disciple, who also participated in the alchemy conference 5 years ago. At that time, he achieved good results in the second-grade alchemist level. It has been 5 years since then. He must have accumulated considerable experience as a third-grade alchemist. This time, even if he cannot contend for the top 3, the top 10 should be a high possibility." Chapter 192. Betting, the convention starts _3. Upon hearing this, Chu Feng showed a faint smile on his face, stroked his goatee, and said modestly, "My disciple is not very talented. I don't expect him to rank in the top 10. As long as his performance isn't too terrible, so that our Spirit Martial Prefecture branch's resources won't be reduced too much. Faced with Chu Feng's unconventional approach, Qian Ye's expression turned slightly stunned, thinking that it would be impossible for him to give up so easily. After 10 minutes, Chu Feng reluctantly said, "This time, we won't bet on the performance of my Spirit Martial Prefecture and your White Cloud County. Instead, we'll bet on which youngster can ultimately win the championship at the 3rd grade alchemist level. How about that?" Qian Yu pondered for a moment, looking at Chu Feng for a while, without hastily agreeing. Because if they bet like this, he wouldn't have any advantage, and it wouldn't fit his intended purpose. Updated on B0x0VL. Old Qian, old Chu's proposal seems pretty good. I'll join in as well. The old man next to him said, "A small bet cheers us up, and we can't bet too big. 111 contribute a blue frost pill recipe. I Fong Tua can't miss out on this. I'll contribute an annihilation pill recipe. I'll join too," and so, the surrounding old men joined in the bet one after another. I can still handle a 6th grade pill recipe. It's within our acceptable range. 111 contribute a revive pill recipe. Chu Feng's eyes swept over Lu Yun and the others, sighing, as the president of the Spirit Martial Prefecture branch, one naturally can't bet on other alchemists to win the championship. Alright, I'll bet on Lu Yun to win the championship. Just a 6th grade pill recipe, one can afford it, consider it a motivation. Old Chu is right. It's just a 6th grade pill recipe. I'll bet on our branches, I'll bet on our branches. Just like that, the old men joined the bet with confidence, betting on their branch's alchemist to win the championship. For these experienced 6th grade alchemists, contributing a 6th grade pill recipe was no big deal, just joining in the fun. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen people had joined the bet, and Qian Yu found himself in a dilemma. Betting on their White Cloud County branch's alchemist to win the championship would mean giving away a 6th grade pill recipe for free, wouldn't it? Although a 6th grade pill recipe wasn't very important to him, Qian Yu, who had always prided himself on his shrewdness, wouldn't go through with an act he knew he'd lose. However, seeing the contemptuous gazes from those around him, he ultimately joined in. The young participants below the stage naturally didn't know that the old men on the high platform had placed significant bets on them and were sizing each other up at this time. As time slowly passed, the much-anticipated start of the alchemy conference approached. When a crisp bell rang above the square, the noisy voices from both the audience and the competitors disappeared instantly, and the entire venue became extremely quiet. After the melodious bell sound had completely faded, an old man seated in the center of the high platform shakily stood up. This old man, who was nearing the end of his days, was none other than the president of the Ling Province Alchemist Alliance, Qin Ming. His pair of vicissitudinous eyes swept over the 600 or 700 young, talented alchemists in the participants' seats. At the same time, these young alchemists, who enjoyed the reputation of being geniuses from various counties, also cast their admiring and awe-filled gazes at this elderly man, who held the highest prestige in the Ling Province Alchemist Alliance. I, Qin Ming, announce in the name of the president of the Ling Province Alchemist Alliance, that the 53rd Alchemy Conference begins. Boom! With the sound of the true origin-filled voice, the entire venue erupted in thunderous cheers, an overwhelming momentum that shook the heavens. Chapter 193. Preliminary Round. Dazzling. Standing on the high platform, Qin Ming, who was hunched over but full of energy, looked at the bustling venue and chuckled. Now, all contestants, please enter your respective competition areas and seats according to your entry numbers. Although the venue was massive and the atmosphere was intense, Qin Ming's voice reverberated like a giant bell in everyone's ears, showing the extraordinary strength of this old man. As Qin Ming's words landed, numerous young and talented alchemists on the contestant seats stood up. Some of them were talents from the Ling Province's 36 Prefecture Alchemist Alliance, while others were high-level disciples trained by independent alchemists. At this moment, they all shared one common identity: contestants of the alchemy conference. Similarly, for the next 40 or 50 years, they would be the backbone of the Ling province's alchemists. Updated on B0x0VL. In the center of the venue, there were two fan-shaped areas. The left fan-shaped area was the competition area for second-grade alchemists. The right fan-shaped area was the competition area for third-grade alchemists. Lu Yun entered booth number 156 in the third-grade alchemist area according to his entry number. With a glance, he instantly saw the entire layout of the competition booth. First, a red alchemy furnace came into view, its structure similar to the one he used in the past at the Sun View second-floor alchemy room in the Spirit Martial Prefecture. Inside the furnace was a few black stones, which were fire stones often used by lower-level alchemists. There was an incredibly smooth green stone platform nearby, neatly stacked with a pile of spirit herbs, at least 20 kinds. Next to the herbs, an ancient-looking scroll lay quietly. Besides, a jade mirror was placed in a corner of the green stone platform, its faint glow flickering. It showed the surroundings of the alchemy furnace and projected the scene clearly. Lu Yun's gaze shifted, sweeping across the entire venue. He found that huge screens in the corners of east, south, west, and north showed different scenes, resembling 4 different competition booths. The projection in the eastern corner was Chu Yuanyao's competition booth. Standing by the green stone platform, Chu Yuanyao rested her cheek on her jade hand, her beautiful eyes staring at the spirit herbs and the ancient scroll before her. Her mesmerizing waist and elegant posture appeared on the gigantic screen like a celestial maiden. Awu! Yuanyao, the little fairy, the sight of the lovely and beautiful Chu Yuanyao captivated many young alchemists in the audience, who howled like wolves. Facing such a heated scene, Chu Yuanyao mischievously smiled on her innocent face, once again igniting the venue. However, this explosive scene did not last for too long. The image of Chu Yuanyao disappeared from the screen, replaced by a shabby-looking young man who would have likely been drowned in saliva by the audience if not for the very conspicuous third-grade alchemist badge on his chest. The projections in the 4 corners were all different, with the east and west corners projecting the third-grade alchemist area, and the south and north corners projecting the second-grade alchemist area. Every competing alchemist had the opportunity to appear on the screen. An alchemy conference turned into a live broadcast, Lu Yun said with a faint smile, withdrawing his gaze. At the same time, he finally understood why such a conference attracted so many alchemists. The jade mirrors on the green stone platform accurately projected the techniques and processes of these talented alchemists, providing a rare learning opportunity for most alchemists. Regaining his composure, Lu Yun picked up the ancient scroll on the green stone platform and found that it was a third-grade pill recipe. What surprised him was that this pill recipe was different from the ones he had seen before. Pili recipes were usually not recorded on ordinary paper because they had to be engraved with spiritual power by alchemists, which required the use of special scrolls to bear the imprint and ensure that it would not be damaged or faded for years or even decades. Furthermore, a pill recipe engraved with an alchemist's spiritual power could be read quickly as long as one used spiritual power, enabling the content and important points to be memorized in the shortest time possible. However, the Pili recipe on this scroll was not engraved with spiritual power, but directly copied, containing only information about the required spirit herbs, their quantities, and a rough refining method, without any detailed descriptions. This undoubtedly posed a great challenge for most alchemists. After all, it was impossible to have refined every type of third-grade pill or be familiar with the properties of all spirit herbs. Another thing that puzzled Lu Yun was the wide variety of spirit herbs on the green stone platform, almost 20 in total. Among them, each herb had at least 1 or 2 similar-looking counterparts with vastly different properties and effects. No wonder it's the alchemy conference. Its difficulty is far greater than any ordinary alchemist examination, Lu Yun said, a faint smile at the corner of his mouth as he held the scroll. In a sense, this competition encompassed a lot. It included the identification of spirit herbs, control of fire, refining pills, and so on. For others, it would be extremely difficult. Chapter 194. Preliminary Round, Dazzling _2. But for Lu Yun, who had received a comprehensive inheritance, that was all. Looking around, he found that many young alchemists around him were looking at the scrolls in their hands, and their faces were showing signs of fatigue. Only a small number of people, like Lu Yun, had a faint smile on their faces after seeing the pill recipe on the scroll. At the number 3 competition platform, a third-grade alchemist with dark eyes glanced over Lu Yun and Chu Yuanyao, couldn't help but chuckle and whispered, "What good is talent? The assessment of the alchemy conference is not about age and talent, but about who can produce the best pill. The final champion of the conference can only be me, Mu Changfeng." He was now 24 years old, almost the oldest among the many contestants, but that didn't mean his alchemy level was low. Updated on B0x0VL. Mu Changfeng had participated in the alchemy conference 5 years ago, but his performance was not ideal because he had just been promoted to a third-grade alchemist not long before. After returning, he crazily improved his alchemy level, including identifying spirit herbs, improving fire-controlling techniques, and collecting various pill recipes, all to constantly perfect and enhance his skills, and participate in the alchemy conference to win the championship and get the conference rewards to be promoted to a 4th-grade alchemist. In the large square, many young alchemists who considered themselves geniuses were holding the scrolls in their hands, carefully studying and thinking. Their expressions varied. Quite a few people, like Mu Changfeng, had an air of certainty about winning the championship. Such a solemn and tense atmosphere lasted for 10 minutes before a crisp bell rang in the huge venue. As the sound of the bell faded, Qin Ming, who symbolized the authority of Ling Province's alchemist community, stood up, glanced at the brilliant alchemists who had taken their positions, and slowly spoke. "I presume you are all familiar with your respective competition platforms and have received your pill recipes, and have a rough idea of the refining method in your minds. Now I will announce the rules of the competition for you." His calm and steady voice echoed in everyone's ears. First, you need to find the materials required for the pill recipe from the numerous similar spirit herbs. Then, refine and purify these spirit herbs according to your existing experience and make the corresponding pills. At the junction of the 2 competition areas, there is a giant hourglass, which is the competition time. As long as you produce the finished pill before all the sand in the hourglass runs out, you'll be considered successful. I'll emphasize once again, there are enough spirit herbs on each competition platform's stone platform. As long as you produce the corresponding finished pill within the specified time, you can advance to the final. Do you all understand? Qin Ming's voice slowly subsided. Yes. In the center of the venue, the talented alchemists from the 2 competition areas shouted in unison, creating an echoing thunderous roar that resounded in all directions. In that case, the preliminary round of the 53rd Alchemy Conference now begins. Qin Ming's aged hand gently pressed down, and the giant hourglass began working with a whistling sound. At the same time, in the 2 opposite competition areas, alchemy furnaces were set ablaze with roaring flames, and giant screens in the 4 corners of the southeast, northwest broadcasted the bustling figures. Lu Yun did not ignite the furnace right away, but slowly looked at the scroll. The scroll recorded a 3rd-grade pill called Rejuvenation Pill, which was used to treat severe injuries. This kind of healing pill generally had a low cost-effectiveness ratio and was not easy to refine, but its market price was not as high as those of augmenting pills. As a result, the pill recipe was relatively niche, and most alchemists were not particularly interested in refining rejuvenation pills. Using it as an assessment pill recipe, the Alchemist Alliance had many considerations. One was to make the many talented alchemists realize that only by developing in an all-around way could they better improve their alchemy level. In addition, it was also to make these alchemists pay attention to the refining of such healing pills, as the demand for healing pills on the battlefield was much greater than that for augmenting pills. Of course, the intentions of the Alchemist Alliance were not understood by these talented alchemists. In their view, using such niche pill recipes as assessment content was simply to increase the difficulty of the assessment. After carefully memorizing the incomplete pill recipe on the scroll, Lu Yun slowly closed his eyes, and in no time, a rough refining plan appeared in his mind. Slowly opening his eyes, he took a deep breath and looked around to find that most people had already selected the spirit herbs and thrown them into the alchemy furnace to begin refinement. Being able to become a third-grade alchemist before the age of 25, each of them had an extraordinary foundation, and distinguishing some spirit herbs with similar appearances but different properties was not too difficult for them. The difficult part was to produce the finished pill within the specified time without any experience or detailed knowledge of the refining process. From this neatly arranged but highly confusing pile of spirit herbs, the materials needed for the rejuvenation pill were selected. There were a total of 7 types, including dewdrop grass, dark tongue orchid, purple orchid leaf grass, ink leaf lotus, snow lotus seed, and so on. Chapter 195. Preliminary Round, Dazzling _3. After selecting the spirit herbs, Lu Yun smiled faintly, waved his sleeve, and the red furnace lid flew open. He then pointed his fingertips slightly, and a wisp of pure yang aura appeared between his fingers, emitting a scorching heat that quickly raised the surrounding temperature. Aura origin? The moment Lu Yun started his furnace, a scene of his competition platform appeared in the eastern corner. As soon as he used the aura origin, countless gazes gathered, both from the audience and the VIP seat. Seeing the golden aura origin blooming on his fingertips, there were immediately gasps of surprise. Although different scenes were being played in the 4 corners at this time, with some even beginning to place spirit herbs for refinement, all attention was drawn to Lu Yun once he utilized the aura origin. Golden aura origin? Looking at the golden aura origin used by Lu Yun, a moment of shock appeared in Qin Ming's vicissitude-filled eyes, and he immediately chuckled. Haha, this alchemy conference is interesting, even attracting a young talent with such an exceptional martial arts gift. Updated on B0x0VL. Calm on the high platform, Qian Ye's face changed slightly, and he glanced at Chu Feng sitting beside him with a serious expression, inquiring tentatively. One remember you bet on this kid to win the championship, right? So what? Any problem? At this point, the betting was settled, and Chu Feng was too lazy to play the game of pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger with the other party. Qian Ye's eyebrows raised slightly in surprise. No, it's just you can't really think that because he has a high martial arts talent. He definitely has a high alchemy talent, right? Chu Feng smiled faintly. One don't know if Lu Yun's alchemy talent is high or not, but one do know that refining a few high-quality pills with pill patterns shouldn't be a problem for him. Hearing this, Di Qin curled his lips. Among everyone present, he knew Lu Yun's details best apart from Chu Feng. Refining a few high-quality pills with pill patterns was a piece of cake for him. One furnace could produce third-grade pills, with a success rate of 100% and an almost 50% rate of top-notch pills. Even these 6th-grade alchemists couldn't necessarily achieve this level if they personally refined the pills under a bad condition. With a snap of his fingers, the golden pure yang aura fell directly onto the black firestones inside the alchemy furnace. In a whoosh, a raging flame ignited. Immediately afterwards, the icy red furnace quickly heated up, and Lu Yun controlled the flame within his furnace using the pure yang aura as if it were child's play. He soon reached the desired temperature. Waving his right hand, he selected a few spirit herbs that he had set aside and sent them flying into the alchemy furnace one by one. Then, with another wave of his sleeve, the hovering furnace lid closed again, as Lu Yun began to control the flame inside the alchemy furnace using the pure yang aura. Even though he had already refined hundreds of furnaces of pills with a success rate of 100%, he still dared not be careless at this time. His entire attention was focused on the alchemy furnace, completely unaware of the agitation in the audience and the VIP seats around him, and the situation of the other alchemists. For this furnace of pills was no longer as simple as completing a task. This would determine whether he could successfully win the championship of the alchemy conference and obtain the invaluable natural tinder. The giant scene projected in the air continued to play out at his competition platform. The golden pure yang aura was so dazzling, the young man so striking, pulling at everyone's heartstrings. Chapter 196. The focus of 10,000 people, asking for monthly and recommendation tickets. The pill recipe recorded on the scroll did not mention how strong the fire should be for refining these spirit herbs, nor did it specify the limit of purity for the extraction. It also did not provide detailed instructions on the order of refining and purification of various spirit herbs. These were the second set of difficulties that many alchemists participating in the contest had to overcome. Actually, alchemy had a subtle similarity to the mathematics problems of Lu Yun's past life. Although a problem-solving tactic could not make up for the gap in talent, it could at least help one improve their performance rapidly at a certain stage. Similarly, for an alchemist, the more pills they refine, the richer the experience they accumulate. They would become more proficient in understanding the properties and effects of various spirit herbs and in controlling the fire. Sometimes, this proficiency could even enable them to draw inferences about other cases from one instance. Lu Yun had not come into contact with the rejuvenation pill recipe before, but he undoubtedly understood the materials needed to refine it. Updated on B0x0VL. Calm in less than 10 minutes, the first type of spirit herbs had been completely refined by Lu Yun. He pushed the purification to its limit. Under his careful control, a crystal-clear medicinal liquid was moved into the isolation cabin of the alchemy furnace. He then quickly opened the furnace lid and put the second type of spirit herbs into the alchemy furnace. Dewdrop grass was the main ingredient of the rejuvenation pill. Due to its high requirements for fire control, an extremely precise level of control had to be achieved to ensure that its medicinal properties were completely extracted without losing too much potency. Therefore, when refining and purifying it, one had to be extremely cautious and careful. Bang! Just as Lu Yun had put the dewdrop grass into the furnace and was carefully controlling the fire inside to refine it, a furnace not far from him burst into flames. The energy inside the spirit herbs exploded violently, and the flames surged upwards, causing the furnace lid to explode. With the explosion of the furnace lid, the spirit herbs being refined inside were instantly destroyed. Because the alchemist was too focused, he had no time to dodge, and the flying flames directly burned his black hair, leaving it completely exposed. Although his handsome face was not burned, it had turned into a blotchy mess. The distance between the stages was quite close, and after this alchemist experienced the furnace explosion, the nearby alchemists were affected as well, either burning their spirit herbs to ashes or losing their concentration, leading to another furnace explosion. For a moment, the surroundings were filled with rumbling sounds. Alchemists with burnt hair and blotchy faces looked at each other, and after a moment of silence, they gritted their teeth and glared at each other. This scene was projected in 4 corners of the venue, and the audience of alchemists in the stands burst into laughter. Even the distinguished guests on the VIP seats could not help but smile. What a bunch of pitiful guys! Despite Lu Yun's state of mind, he couldn't help but laugh inwardly at the continuous explosions around him. The reason why the distance between the stages was deliberately kept so close and no noise reduction facilities were set up was to increase the difficulty of the alchemy conference. An excellent alchemist needed not only extraordinary alchemy skills, but also a heart that was not disturbed by the outside world. Lu Yun quickly cast aside this small episode and continued to focus on refining the dewdrop grass in the furnace. The continuous explosions that occurred earlier didn't have much of an impact on him. As the fire increased, the dewdrop grass also reached the refining limit. Under his steady control, a ball of liquid slowly formed and he tried to adjust the fire in the furnace, beginning the purification process. Only by purifying it to the optimal purity could the impurities within it be removed, resulting in higher quality pills. Time slowly passed, and the alchemy conference was in full swing. Because of the previous collective furnace explosion incident, all contestants became extra cautious and careful. Even so, many contestants still experienced continuous furnace explosions or burnt spirit herbs. If not for the sufficient amount of spirit herbs provided on the stone platforms, at least a third of the contestants would have been eliminated. The purpose of this preliminary contest was to test whether these talented alchemists could refine finished pills within a limited time while experiencing multiple mistakes. However, it was difficult to adjust their state after experiencing a furnace explosion. If there were no accidents, their final result would still be a failure. Of course, there were a few people with good mental states and solid foundations, who, after experiencing a failure, quickly adjusted, then cautiously explored the limits of the fire for refining and purifying spirit herbs. Even geniuses need to grow through multiple failures. Some may need to explore a dozen times before they succeed, while others may only need to fail once or twice. These alchemists had a strong foundation and talent, and their cost of trial and error was low. They quickly bounced back and completed most of the refining and purification work. Lu Yun was no ordinary genius. After receiving a comprehensive enhancement, as well as having his control over the pure yang strong origin improved to a refined level, he encountered no obstacles in refining or purifying the herbs. Everything went smoothly and naturally. Chapter 197. The focus of 10,000 people, asking for monthly and recommendation tickets. _2 The Alchemy Conference aimed to select outstanding alchemist talents and instill motivation through rewards. Besides this, it also had another objective, which was to allow more alchemists to observe and learn from the alchemy process of these talented alchemists, thereby improving their own skill level and pushing the overall standard of alchemy in Ling Province to a higher level. Therefore, as time passed, participants slowly started to stand out from the crowd. The scenes projected from the four directions, east, south, west, and north, gradually stabilized and no longer switched constantly. Among them, the scene from competition platform number 156 was being projected in the eastern sky of the venue, displaying Lu Yun's complete alchemy process before everyone's eyes. Updated on B0x0VL. Calm Lu Yun seemed to be like a student who already had the standard answer. His whole process of refinement and purification was as smooth as moving clouds and flowing water, without any trace of idleness. He perfectly demonstrated incredible control over the flame and purification technique. Next was the fusion of all the purified medicinal fluids, followed by pill condensation. This step would be more complex and intricate than any previous step. During this time, the most critical aspects tested were an alchemist's concentration, control over the flame, and strong control capability. If the concentration slipped even slightly, the medicinal fluids in the furnace, which took a great deal of effort and time to purify, would completely disintegrate, and this round of assessment would come to an end. Therefore, apart from testing the above abilities, it also examined the alchemist's state of mind. If one didn't have a strong mentality, even if they possessed the above abilities, it would result in failure. It could be said that, during this crucial step, any issue could cause irreplaceable losses. The numerous spectators in the audience are all concentrating intently on Lu Yun's techniques and actions, as if the person on screen was themselves. Their dedication and focus were unparalleled. Lu Yun was unaware that his alchemy process was being broadcasted. He concentrated on controlling the heat and moved the purified medicinal fluid from the isolation cabin to the main cabin. Pure Yang's strong origin carefully controlled the flame of the furnace, gradually roasting the medicinal fluids of different characteristics and incompatibilities. As the heat slowly increased, the various medicinal fluids underwent severe friction, causing crackling noises to resonate from within. This process was the most important and also the most dangerous. When the medicinal fluids of various properties react and fuse together, a horrifying amount of energy would erupt. If the alchemist's control over the flame and overall control aren't strong, if they failed to suppress and guide it right away when the energy erupts, it will not be as simple as a blown furnace lid. This would result in an actual furnace explosion. However, for such a complicated and changeable step that requires full carefulness and caution, Lu Yun in the screen was still calm and composed, not pressured at all. He continued to intensify the heat, clearly with the intention to allow all the medicinal fluids to fuse together at the same time. Judging from the medicinal fluids that this kid has purified, it should be the third-grade rejuvenation pill that he is trying to make. The instantaneous eruption of energy after the fusion of 7 different medicinal fluids is extremely terrifying. Most people cannot control this. He's really bold, huh? On the high platform, Qianyu smirked coldly, his malicious intention clear. Most alchemists would fuse all medicinal fluids together at once due to their inability to control the energy that erupts. If 3 or more different medicinal fluids fuse at once, the energy that erupts will be beyond their control. If not handled properly, it will likely result in a furnace explosion. For Lu Yun, attempting to fuse 7 kinds of medicinal fluids at the same time, an explosion would be considered lucky. If not careful, even severe injuries could occur. The old men nearby also shook their heads with regret on their faces. They thought that Lu Yun's approach was reckless. A talented alchemist with such high levels of medicine refinement and fire control, being eliminated in the preliminary round due to recklessness, was truly a pity. At the same time, they looked at Chu Feng with schadenfreude. A 6th-grade pill recipe had just been wasted like this. Chu Feng glanced at everyone like they were idiots, saying lightly, "Do you all think that an alchemist who possesses the strong origin can't control the energy burst of a 3rd-grade pill?" At these words, those old men who previously looked regretful and gleeful gradually became stunned, and then revealed bitter smiles. That's right, they had completely overlooked the fact that the kid in the screen was in the transforming origin realm, and that he had been using aura origin in the entire alchemy process. With his eyes locked tightly on the bubbling flames inside the alchemy furnace, Lu Yun controlled the heat using pure Yang's strong origin. Amidst the sizzling energy eruptions, the refining flame blazed even more fiercely, and finally, the 7 types of medicinal fluids began to show signs of melting. At this time, in the giant hourglass at the border between the 2 competition areas, about 2/3 of the sand had fallen, and Lu Yun's alchemy was gradually nearing its end. The numerous high-grade alchemists on the spectator seats, VIP seats, and the high platform were all glued to the scene projected from competition platform number 156. The conditions inside the alchemy furnace, as well as Lu Yun's techniques of pill fusion and fire control, were all clearly presented. However, the techniques were too quick. Some low-level alchemists were quite blurry in their observation, and some couldn't even keep up with the speed. They could only get a rough idea, but this didn't stop them from continuing to watch. This was already a visual feast, a spiritual shock. At the same time, they were all expecting something in their hearts. 1 breath passed. 2 breaths passed. About 10 breaths later, the 7 different kinds of medicinal fluids in the alchemy furnace, in the large screen, had all completely fused together. However, inside the alchemy furnace where a massive energy shock would normally occur, it was surprisingly peaceful. No disorder showed up, even the refining flame was still burning serenely. This scene completely stunned the alchemists in the audience. Where was the promised energy shock? Why was it so peaceful that it felt out of place? Soon after, Lu Yun's aura shifted, then the golden pure yang strong origin burst forth, instantaneously filling the whole screen. Suddenly, a golden strong origin heavily hit the alchemy furnace, sending the lid flying. Immediately after, a dazzling light erupted from the furnace. 10 streaks of cyan light instantly filled the whole screen. This sudden scene, which came out of nowhere, temporarily blinded everyone's eyes, and disbelief filled their eyes. 100% success rate in pill formation? Seeing those 10 streaks of cyan light chaotically flickering in the screen, someone couldn't help but exclaim. It should be noted that at this point, only half of the sand in the huge hourglass had trickled down. Most of the talented alchemists in both competition areas were still undergoing the final refining process. But competitor number 156, Lu Yun, not only had his pill successfully condensed, but the pill formation success rate reached an astonishing 100%. Lu Yun stared at the 10 streaks of cyan light bouncing around above his head. With a wave of his sleeve, those cyan lights immediately floated in front of him. The cyan light surrounding them retracted to reveal 10 rejuvenation pills, perfectly round and flawless, and among them 4 were crystal clear, glimmering spectacularly, leaving one dazzled. Chapter 198. The Finals begins. A pill pattern. There is actually a pill pattern. At some point, among the batch of alchemists in the audience, someone couldn't help but point at the pill floating in front of Lu Yun on the screen, exclaiming in surprise. After hearing this sound, other people also perked up their spirits and looked carefully. The 4 pills with pill patterns radiated a more radiant luster, you could tell at a glance. This, updated on B0X and 0VL. Calm when it was confirmed that there were indeed 4 pills with pill patterns, everyone was momentarily startled, their faces with a brief blank look. The usually bustling venue instantly fell into a dead silence. As for Lu Yun, he glanced calmly at the round pills floating in front of him, and with a gesture of his palm, a purple jade bottle appeared. At the same time, 10 pills, each surrounded by 10 circles of pure light, flew into the jade bottle one after another. Snuffing the refining flame, Lu Yun stood on the competition stage holding a jade bottle, calmly glancing at the giant hourglass in which the sand was flowing evenly. About half of the sand was still left. If I were to refine it once more, not only would the quality rate rise to 50 or 60%, the time required would also be greatly reduced. Shaking his head, Lu Yun then turned his gaze around. At this moment, all the genius alchemists on the whole competition field were buried in refining. Even if they smelled the faint fragrance of the pill, knowing that someone had already made a product ahead of time, they were still undisturbed, showing extra caution and prudence. When refining, distraction is a big taboo, especially when facing such an incomplete pill recipe. Coupled with never having refined such a pill before, concentration of attention is necessary. Otherwise, all the sweat from the early stage would be wasted. As for the alchemists close to Lu Yun, because they were affected by the furnace explosion, their condition and spirit were disturbed, and they also wasted a lot of time, now appearing very anxious. Some of them even had sweat emerging on their foreheads. Seeing this, Lu Yun shook his head slightly. If these people could adjust their state in time, they might still have a chance of success. Otherwise, there would only be one result for them, that is, failure. On the high platform, Chu Feng, who had been watching the screen displaying Lu Yun, also withdrew his gaze when it suddenly switched to another alchemist. He then looked at Xian Yu next to him with a face of regret and dissatisfaction. Really, this kid Lu Yun kept me in the dark too. If I had known his alchemy skills were this good, I should have made a bet with you. It's not easy to have such a good opportunity. Unexpectedly it was wasted by me like this. Hearing Chu Feng's pretentious words, Qian Yu gave a faint smile, saying, "This is only the preliminary contest. Being the first to make the product doesn't represent anything. Only the final results in the final contest can represent the outcome of the entire alchemy conference. Yes, you're absolutely right, Brother Qian. In this preliminary contest, as long as you can make the pill in a set amount of time, you can advance. It doesn't make much difference who made it first or last. But this brat, Lu Yun, why did he display so brilliantly? 100% success rate was acceptable, but even making 4 fine pills, isn't he just wasting all of his luck? Having said that, Chu Feng looked like he was heartbrokenness. Seeing this, Qian Ye's mouth twitched uncontrollably, showing great annoyance. He, being a peak 6th grade alchemist, naturally knew what it meant for Lu Yun to make 4 fine pills in less than half the time despite such difficulties. Although he didn't admit it verbally, he was all too aware that such a person would be a strong dark horse in this alchemy conference. Looking at Qian Ye's face getting grimmer, Chu Feng felt a sense of triumph, as if all the resentment that had been accumulating in his heart for countless years was released at this moment. In past alchemy conferences, it was this old fellow Qian Yu who mocked him the most. Of course, besides Qian Yu, the others around him hadn't spared Spirit Martial Prefecture either. Today, at last, an opportunity had been presented. How could he give it up so easily? The old fellows around him, who were all cunning, knew exactly what Chu Feng was going to do next, and they all moved their eyes away. Sure enough, they're all a bunch of old foxes. Chu Feng complained, losing interest in ridiculing others any further. As time slowly flowed, a faint scent gradually wafted from the 2 competition areas, meaning that besides Lu Yun, other alchemists had also successfully made product pills. In the 3rd grade alchemist area, the pure and adorable Chu Yuanyao raised her jade hand. 10 rays of light shot up into the sky and then fell into her hand in an instant. The 10 full and round pills rotated in her hand. With a gentle shake, they fell into the jade plate she had placed on the blue stone platform. Each one was pure white, flawless. On the N03 competition stage, Mu Changfeng was playing with the 10 pills in his hand, looking proud. He looked in Chu Yuanyao's direction and caught her in the process of collecting pills, his face showing a look of astonishment. During his alchemy process, to avoid interference from other alchemists, he had sealed his 6 sense organs and did not know what was happening outside. In his view, he was certainly the first one to succeed in making a pill among the 3rd grade alchemists. Chapter 199. The Finals begins. _2 Unexpectedly, Chu Yuanyao managed to produce the pill almost at the same time as him, and the success rate was incredibly high, reaching 100%. No wonder President Qin Ming would accept her as a disciple. Her talent is truly extraordinary. It seems one have to give it my all in the upcoming finals. His gloomy eyes flashed slightly, and then withdrew his gaze. He continued to look around, wanting to see if there were any potential opponent. Update on Biomicron X0 VL. Siomicron M, huh? At this moment, his gaze suddenly fell on the 156th competition platform. At this time, Lu Yun was sitting on the blue stone platform, utterly bored, with his eyes slightly closed, looking drowsy. Because he had refined the pill early and could not leave the stage because of the competition, he could only pass the time like this. Even if he had become a 3rd grade alchemist early on, without enough experience, he couldn't even refine a finished pill. With a snort in his heart, Mu Changfeng's gaze moved away, and at the same time, he eliminated Lu Yun from his list of potential competitors. In his opinion, Lu Yun's appearance was clearly due to the impact of his failure in alchemy, and he had no choice but to languish like this. As for the possibility that Lu Yun had already refined the pill early on, he believed that it was completely unrealistic. As the sand in the huge hourglass became less and less, the preliminary contest gradually came to an end. Pill fragrance drifted out from time to time between the 2 competition areas. Alchemists showed a proud smile on their faces, a strong sense of achievement. At the same time, most of the competition platforms occasionally emitted rumbles, accompanied by heavy smoke and pungent aromas. Gloomy winds fluttered in all directions. These so-called genius alchemists with unkempt hair and flower-like faces no longer showed their previous arrogance and proud demeanor, and like failing elementary school students, they had no choice but to leave the competition platform with dejected faces. Once they voluntarily left the competition platform before the time was up, they were considered to have automatically forfeited the game. At this point, the preliminary contest was nearing its end, and it was too late to start refining the pill again, so giving up was their only choice. Sitting on the competition platform, Lu Yun opened his eyes, watching those contestants leaving one by one, then looked around again, somewhat startled to find that nearly half of the people had already been eliminated before the preliminary contest was over. Moreover, this didn't include those who were concentrating their attention and devotedly working on the final step. As Lu Yun observed the others, some people were also observing him. Strange, this kid has already failed, but why is he still sitting on the competition platform? Mu Changfeng raised his eyebrows slightly, and a faint sense of unease rose in his heart. Sure enough, not long after, the moment when the last grain of sand in the huge hourglass had run out, the deep and resounding sound of the bell reverberated throughout the entire venue. Qin Ming, who was sitting on the high platform, stood up, swept his gaze over the audience, and then said loudly, "The competition is over. All contestants, please put the pills you have refined on the blue stone platforms, so the staff can check them. Those who have not successfully refined the pills, please leave the stage voluntarily." As his words fell, he waved his hand, and the staff quickly entered the arena. Lu Yun noticed that the staff member who arrived before him was holding a delicate, attractive-looking instrument. After the staff entered, Qin Ming's voice rang out again. "I believe you have all seen the instrument in the hands of the staff. It is a pill testing device. As long as you put your refined pill inside, and if it emits a green light, it means that you have refined the correct pill and have passed the preliminary round. If it flashes red or does not emit any light, even if the pill is formed, it will be considered a failure." Some people may ask why a flashing red light would be considered a failure. Let me explain clearly. If the instrument flashes red, it means that what you have refined is not a healing pill, but a poison. As for those that don't flash at all, it's simple. A pill that can neither save nor harm people, a mere ordinary pellet. How could it be called a pill? Upon hearing this, laughter erupted from both the audience and the VIP seat. Meanwhile, some alchemists on the stage blushed slightly, then surreptitiously put away their pills and quietly left the stage. Seeing that many people tactfully left the stage, a satisfied smile appeared on Qin Ming's face. "Hee, let's start the inspection." The staff member responsible for inspecting Lu Yun's work was a female alchemist in a purple robe. A purple belt wrapped around her waist, accentuating her full and mature figure. After receiving Qin Ming's instructions, she smiled slightly at Lu Yun, picked up the purple jade bottle on the stone platform, gently removed the lid, and poured out a round rejuvenation pill. She immediately placed it on the apparatus. Suddenly, the delicate and ingenious apparatus emitted dazzling green light, instantly illuminating the entire stage. A truly top-notch pill with a pill pattern indeed. Such a brilliant light. The staff member praised before collecting the purple jade bottle, the scroll on the stone platform, and all the remaining spirit herbs. Next, after a quick registration, she took out a large stack of neatly arranged spirit herbs along with a new scroll and placed them on the stone platform. Throughout this process, Lu Yun's eyes stayed fixated on the jade bottle. To him, it represented not only the fruits of his labors over the past 4 hours but also hundreds of energy points. Reluctantly shifting his gaze from the departing female alchemist, he looked in other directions. At this time, green lights of varying intensity were continuously flickering on all the stages. Apparently, almost all the remaining alchemists had succeeded in creating actual medicinal pills. However, there were still a few of them who revealed their true colors and fled the scene blushing as they failed the test. As the inspections ended, only about 50 people remained in the third-grade alchemist area, a nearly 80% elimination rate, which demonstrated the difficulty of the preliminaries. What caught Lu Yun's attention was that Yin Hualin actually managed to create a genuine medicinal pill and wasn't eliminated. As for the second-grade alchemist area, about 130 people remained. However, Lu Yun only saw a lazy-looking Deng Yunhui, while Di Ruoling and the other two Spirit Martial Prefecture's alchemists were already eliminated. Glancing back towards the audience seating, he noticed Di Ruoling sitting relaxed in her original seat, with a smile on her pretty face, showing no signs of the frustration that everyone else seemed to feel after being eliminated. This girl might have just come here for fun. Lu Yun shook his head and looked away. At this point, the victorious alchemists who had advanced to the finals were seated in their original spots, closing their eyes and recuperating while adjusting their state. For Lu Yun, the aura origin he had consumed while refining the pill just now was insignificant, as he had already recovered to his peak state after finishing the refining process. As the midday sun slowly rose and filled the open sky, the venue became lively once again. Dong! At some point, a crisp ringing sound echoed and resounded throughout the venue. At that very moment, the alchemists who were sitting with their eyes closed and legs crossed all opened their eyes, took a deep breath, and stood up, lifting their gazes towards the elevated platform where Qin Ming stood. Perhaps because the final round of the competition was about to begin, the noise of the entire venue reached its peak, and even the crisp and melodious ringing sound couldn't make it stop. Ahem, however, with Qin Ming clearing his throat, all the noise and clamor in the field vanished in an instant. On the high platform, Qin Ming gently coughed and swept his gaze over the audience with a faint smile.